Welcome back to Macrodosing. We're back in studio. I love it. I miss seeing some of you guys face to face. I miss seeing Arian and Coley on the big screen TV. And then we got Mad Dog here too. So it's me, Mad Dog, Billy, Big T, Coley, Arian. Avery is on assignment right now, so he'll be back next week. And so we miss him right now, but it'll be a good episode, I promise. I hope. There's a lot of stuff that we have to get into because it was a long break. First of all, how's everybody doing? Good. That was vibes need to be picked up a little bit in here right now, off the bat.
My vibes are high. Today's my first day as a full-time employee.
Congratulations. All right, let's start out. All right, Mad Dog, cut out everything that I said before that so we can start out with that. Vibes at an all-time high right now. Everyone's buzzing in the studio. Arian, how was your break? I saw that you were very active in the fireworks department.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got it cracking. So we went I had never bought fireworks before, so I was driving, I was just going down the street to pick some eggs up or something like that. And I saw one of them like stands where they sell fireworks. And I was like, fuck yeah, why not? And so I went there and I had no idea what I was like, yo, what do I get? He's like, I got you, man. This dude pulled out like the Magna Carta fucking ultra super duper. I think it's called highfalutin. Like, so this joint called the highfalutin where it just goes off for like a minute. And it's like the big joints, like you can see them shits like across the city. It shows fire. And yeah, we just got I probably got like $1,500 worth of shit.
Texas is so awesome. You can buy anything in Texas except for weed. It's like you can buy something
That's right.
that you can almost blow up the moon, but you can't smoke mids.
Yeah.
It's tough. Coley, how was your vacation?
It was all right. I threw out my back Christmas Eve, so I've been immobile, which sucks. Your back shouldn't be so vital to the rest of you. It's really kind of fucked. Like, I can't lift my legs. Like, bending down hurts, standing up hurts, walking I need to get like momentum into to keep walking. The back has far too much power.
Agreed. And you can tell as you're getting out of bed in the morning what kind of day it's going to be too. Like the very first motion that you make, it's like, oh, going to be a shitty day. We should get you on these stretches that Big Cat put me on because I fucked up my back earlier this year for the first time and it limited everything that I could do. I was kind of incapacitated.
The first time I messed up my back, which was always, I knew growing up I was going to have a bad back. Like gravity is, and I'm sure Big T, you've probably had these thoughts as well. Like gravity is not on our side, being this large. And when I moved back to Boston, I moved like all of my heavy ass furniture by myself. And I was on the wrong side of 30 to be doing that. So that took me out. And so it's just been a fight. I texted Big Cat and Roan the first time it happened, because I know they're both bad back guys. So I do the stretches, but I'm at a point where I'm in such bad shape. Like the stretches aren't even working yet. Like I have to do the stretches for 2 weeks before they could even like take hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fractured.
a little. I was gonna say a little tip for anybody out there. The majority of back issues come from not having a strong core. So the stronger your core is, the better your back problems are. Like I had back surgery 2013. And I was letting y'all know out there, man. Core is the key to back health.
It's crazy.
What kind of surgeries you get?
F5 S1. I had a slipped disc, herniated disc, I think. That motherfucker hurt.
I once fractured my back, my L5 vertebrae.
Blew your back out?
It was the worst thing ever because everybody I went to said that I was just needed to stretch my hamstrings and then I wasn't stretching enough. And then I was finally like I was like, I need, something's wrong with my back. Got it like x-rayed, had a fracture in my back. It was the worst thing ever because you really couldn't do anything.
Did you have to wear like one of those corset like braces?
No. By the time I'd figured it out and got an x-ray, it had healed, but was just like it was kind of herniated. Like there was a lot of inflammation around it. So I just had to, stretch, ice compress. It was the worst thing ever. It was like right when I was growing super fast freshman year of high school, and it fucked me up for like so many sports.
I'm kind of with you that I don't really trust when a doctor tells me that the best thing that I should do is to stretch. It took me a long time to figure out, like, okay, maybe let's just give it a try for this back injury and see if it works. And it actually did. But that's the only reason that it took me so long to get around to it is because usually when doctors tell you need to stretch more, it doesn't really do shit. Like I did physical therapy one time when I tore my groin, and they said this is the only way that you're going to be able to get it back to normal. And so I started to do like these little stretches. Didn't do shit. Only thing that helps with like a sports hernia or whatever that was on my, like it was a strained thigh or whatever. Mm-hmm. Only thing that helps on that is just like give it 8 months and then it'll get back to normal. Like 8 months without fucking with it at all. But yeah, stretching is usually a crock of shit, but it helps out with the back for sure. Also, shout out Billy because Billy's taking care of me in the new year. Billy is our nutritionist now, and he has me on this new blend of workout supplements. And so far, I'm buzzing a little bit. So whatever. Actually, you know what? That's probably just the Zen that I put into the green tea. I've got a Zen in there marinating like it's a tea bag.
Seriously?
Yeah. You should try it.
That's fucked up.
It's probably good for you.
What is a Zen?
It's
synthetic chewing tobacco. Like
yeah.
What Juul is to cigarettes, Zen is to dip.
Huh.
That's the best way I can describe it.
You're drinking tobacco?
No, I'm drinking nicotine.
He's
There's
drinking
a difference.
nicotine.
Yeah. It's healthy because there's no tobacco in it.
Is it?
We'll find out. We'll find out by the end of this episode. What about you, Big T? You had an interesting break, didn't you?
Did I?
Well, I mean,
I went.
I'm surprised that you're not in jail right now.
There is a jail right next to Nissan Stadium. I think it might be a juvenile correctional facility. I don't know, but that really sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking about the Tennessee Purdue bowl game.
I went live on Twitter for the end of regulation when we missed the 56-yard field goal after using no timeouts, and I'm glad I didn't go live again for overtime because I would have possibly said something that would have put my employment in jeopardy.
That's a
That's
stretch
a lot.
there. That means like
I was upset. I was very upset.
It takes a lot to get.
I honestly,
here.
I mean, I'm joking around. I honestly was so in shock. I didn't really like yell or anything. I just kind of stood there and I was like, just looking at the board, like, what are we talking about?
It was a touchdown.
It's the most blatant. I think you're prone to hyperbole in situations like that, especially when it's your team. I think it's the worst call I've ever seen.
Explain what happened for the listeners at home.
It was 4th and goal from the 1 yard line in overtime. Tennessee runs a stretch play to the right. The running back gets hit by 2 guys right at the goal line, keeps moving his feet forward, lands on top of the guy, stretches the ball across the goal line for a touchdown. Whistle doesn't blow until after he's in the end zone, but the ref goes to the 1 yard line and he's marking the play dead. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? He's clearly, I mean, there was no debate if he was in the end zone or not. He was a yard into it. And he was like, yeah, well, we deemed that his forward progress was stopped.
Yeah.
Didn't blow the whistle, but they decided that. And they were like, yeah, you can't review that. So they pretended to review it, by the way. Somebody told somebody at ESPN that, like, for appearance's sake, they pretended to review it, but it's not a reviewable play.
In the moment, I knew exactly what happened. When I saw the ref running over, waving his hands above his head, saying the ball's down at the 1, I knew in that instant what was about to happen to Big T and what was about to happen to the game because I've seen that call before, which is once the referee decides somewhere in his brain that the play is over, it doesn't matter when the whistle blows. The referee can always just be like, no, I had already decided that the forward progress had stopped. You could make an argument, by the way, about whether or not his forward progress had stopped. I don't think that it had because he was still moving.
Because he
still
went forward.
It certainly hadn't stopped any more than Purdue's long-ass touchdown that they had earlier in the game when he was wrapped up by like 3 guys. But Tennessee should have finished that play.
No, they should.
No excuses.
They should have, absolutely. But if that's not, then what are we talking about?
Yeah, it was a heinous call. I thought that Big T was going to commit certain Scott Peterson-like crimes on the closest official. Credit to you guys. I didn't see anybody throw any mustard.
There were a couple people who started. I was like, y'all, please don't. Please stop.
You saw the mustard start to come out of the jackets?
I saw a couple things go. And I was like, listen, everyone in the world, it was the #1 trend on Twitter. Everyone in the country was watching this game. Everyone agrees we got fucked. Leave it at that. Don't make this another chance for the cucks of the world to be, oh, Tennessee fan.
Yeah, like stay the victim.
Yeah, most people kept it in check. There was one guy behind me. I love this guy. I wish I would have caught his name. He every call, because there had been calls going against us long before that one. He just kept calling the refs Democrats, and I was like, man, it's so great to be back home. It's
What
so
do
nice.
do you think college football landscape wants, like, you guys play Purdue, right? Yeah, they're really pushing the Boilermakers. Is that what you think?
No. I don't think it was a conspiracy. Well, so these same refs were the ones. Do you remember the Miami Duke game 4 or 5 years ago where Miami had a lateral on the last play? They were down like 7 times.
Yeah.
And the refs just let it go, and they were like, "Yeah, it's a touchdown." Same refs who were suspended for that.
Yeah. They were Pac-12 refs?
ACC.
ACC. Yeah. I don't understand. It was. I do think you guys took the ball out of Hennon's hands.
I don't understand what we were doing on the last drive of regulation,
right.
But I mean, and everybody's like, oh, you could have done 19 things before that. That call doesn't matter. Yes, in every game you can do things different, but the call did matter. It did matter.
For sure. Yeah, not even trying to argue that, but I only watched once I saw people really start talking about it.
Yeah.
I did, like, watching it, I was like, you guys were making it way harder than you needed to.
Yes. I don't understand why we were using the clock, like, with 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Like, we could have had it be a 45-yard field goal instead of a 56. He still almost made it. He was probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 yards short.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, that's why the whole ending of that game is why college football fucking stinks. Purdue didn't have anyone back to try and catch that field goal.
I didn't understand that either.
That probably would have been returned for a kick 6.
It happened because you have 9 offensive linemen on the field.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers are in your favor if you can return one.
Yeah. And, well, so Big T, I do appreciate the fact that nobody threw any mustard that we saw, but there was a little bit of an aftershock to it. The Sunday Night Football rules official, Terry McCauley, is that his name?
Oh, that guy can go fuck a duck.
Yeah, so he tweeted out his explanation behind the ruling. And then he tweeted right after, for the first time in my career, I have had to turn off replies on a tweet because Tennessee fans are that bad. So congratulations, you've managed to bully Terry McCauley off of having replies on his tweets on Twitter for the first time ever, Big T. I hope you're happy.
I actually quoted that tweet. He said, the whistle is not relevant, which, what a statement to make, first of all.
Say that.
Let's just play the game with no refs, no scoreboard. We'll just pick a guy out of the crowd after. He can decide who wins if the whistle doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. The whistle's not relevant. The ruling was his forward progress was stopped short of the goal line. It's over at that point. There's nothing replay can do with it. I said, you know how I know his forward progress wasn't stopped, Terry? Because he kept going forward.
What if I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. What about the people out there that'll say, hey, Big T, his receiver dragged him over the goal line?
So that is...
I'm not saying that. But
they could have called that a penalty. They did not. So, like, that's a whole different issue. I didn't know... So you can push someone, but you can't pull them?
Correct.
That makes no sense. The Oklahoma game...
they never call it.
Yeah. When Oklahoma played, I think it was Kansas this year... I don't remember if it was Rattler or Williams, but the quarterback dragged his running back 2 yards forward and ripped the ball out of his hands and then kept running and got a first down.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So no, that's never called. I didn't even know that was a penalty. It makes no sense if you can push someone but not pull them. Also, I don't think it really mattered because he was laying on top of the guy and then he reached out with his own arm. So either way, that wasn't really, I don't know, whatever.
Would it be legal to just have everybody on the team get around the ball and everybody grabs the ball at the same time and then you just have a massive... just amoeba of players just inching their way down the field?
I've actually tried to design this play in Madden
Let's go.
1,000 times because in my middle school brain, when Madden, there was in the Madden game, you could design your own play. And I literally just wanted to create a circle around the guy with the ball and just all move forward. Mm-hmm. But the technology never worked.
Seems super easy to stop, honestly.
So I had no idea what y'all were talking about. So I just looked the play up. I didn't see it. When you slow it down, I see what you're talking about, Big T. But in real time, that's a tough call to make for that ref. That's tough because he stopped. He stopped.
But his feet were moving.
They stopped the count.
But it's that's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. I think this call could go either way. Go either way.
Yeah, forward progress is tough. It's very subjective.
It's a tough call. Yeah.
But on 4th and goal from the 1 yard line in overtime, you don't.
I mean,
also,
that's what I'm saying.
The whistle. He didn't blow the whistle. If you listen to it with sound, the whistle comes after he scores.
He couldn't believe you guys refused to score. He just was.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, yeah. It's tough. So they said it didn't get blown up by
and they said it doesn't matter when he blows the whistle, it's when he determines the play is over. So you don't even have to blow.
That's true.
Which actually happened when the Preds were in the Stanley Cup final a few years ago. They scored a goal and like it looked like the puck had been stopped by the goalie, but it kept trickling and went into the goal, and the ref didn't blow the whistle, but they had intent to blow. That was the quote they had, and that was like, yeah, it doesn't
definitely different sport, but
but same premise though, that they didn't blow the whistle, but because they had intent to. I find that to be ridiculous, but whatever.
That's such a crock of shit. You guys got boned. I was sorry to see that.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I see it both ways, but
and it was an awesome game until then too.
No defense.
Yeah,
none.
But whatever.
Tyler's Instagram live was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. That wasn't even the best no defensive game of the weekend. Like it quickly got topped by the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
god.
game was awesome too.
I'm looking up right now, by the way. Actually, Aaron, here's a fun little thing. I didn't know this about you. When you do the bow, when you used to do the bow in the end zone, ESPN says that you do the bow to show respect to the game of football. Is that true?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's not like to the game of football. It's like to everything and everybody that's in the moment, in the experience of the, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's included. Yeah.
So knowing you a little bit, I had a feeling that that's probably more along the lines of what it meant. But there's an article on ESPN.com that says Arian Foster does bow to show respect to the game of football. I thought it was like, you remember when that dude won the Masters a couple years ago?
Oh,
the Japanese guy?
Matsuyama?
Yeah, and then his caddy bowed to the golf course afterwards to show respect to the course. I feel like that's what Arian Foster was doing every time he scored a football, just paying respect to the turf.
Yeah, it was more like the overall essence of the moment.
Arian, we haven't had a chance to talk since John Madden passed away. But I wanted to get your take on did you ever meet the guy?
Nah, I never met John Madden. But yo, we gotta stop talking about people in general on this show. Every time we talk about somebody, they fucking die, bro. This shit is wild, dog.
Or we start talking about people we do not care if they survive.
Yeah, we should do more Ghislaine Maxwell episodes.
I'm with that.
Well, she's on.
We need to talk about her too.
So, over the break, she was convicted on 5 out of 6 counts.
Yep.
Well, hold on. The man was about to talk about John Madden. I don't want to cut that off.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't have any like stories or anything. I never met him, but like, yeah, he's a legend. John Madden is like, I don't know that it was like the nostalgia of, like I think I said it before on the show, but like of his voice and Pat, the other dude that I think he died too.
Summerall,
Pat Summerall. Yeah, those two like were just iconic voices in football, and not to mention he was like a legendary coach and everything that he did. And his name, that's crazy when your name is just bigger than you are. You know what I mean? Like that's a testament to, you know, the kind of impact that you had. So, you know, shout out to John Madden.
I want to talk to Arian about something. Arian, did you see the take that one guy had about Madden in the video game? Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, as someone who was in the video game, I'm curious what you think about this. This guy's it says Dr. Andrew McGregor. I don't know if this guy's a doctor of what, probably. I don't know what he has a PhD in, but his tweet was, I have lots of opinions on John Madden. The creation of the Madden video game was not a great development for the U.S. It further glamorized violence and dehumanized black athletes, helping to establish plantation cosplay that has grown worse in the era of fantasy football. The video game distanced the reality of the violent sport from fans and transformed human behaviors into artificial numbers and simulations. It glamorized athletes using their name for profits while encouraging fans to disregard the humanity. Madden built a digital plantation.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, digital plantation. It was a video game.
I know what he's getting at. I don't necessarily disagree with the premise. Like we absolutely glorify the violence. Like, so I was dealing with this show over the break. Like CTE is a real thing. Like we joke about it a lot. And anytime any football player says anything on Twitter or any social media, it's CTE. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like it's a joke and shit, but like it's a real thing, right? Like not just football players, it's boxers, it's any impact sport. It's something that we like really deal with. And the glamorization of it is all over you got jerseys and like it's we love the violence. We love that shit. It's a big hit. We love that shit. But I understand what he's saying, but I mean, it's a cultural thing. Like do you think
I guess it's more, do you think it's Madden's fault or is that just football?
Nah, it's not Madden's fault. I don't think Madden was into scientists in a lab talking about I'm gonna fuck with black people. Nah.
I mean, it came out, he said on air mid-game, who's old bear? Jim McMahon was concussed. And this was like 91, and Madden was like, oh, if the player's got a concussion, he cannot play. Like extremely progressive thoughts on concussions for like 91. But yeah, I mean, I almost feel like that argument makes more sense for fantasy football than it does for Madden, like where you remove, like you're actually bidding on people. Like I feel like that it's still a bad argument. Don't get me wrong, but if you're gonna make it, I feel like it makes more sense for fantasy than Madden.
Yeah, I know what he's saying, but I don't think John Madden had anything to do with it. No.
Love Madden, huge respect to Madden. But I don't think he was that involved in the video game.
It's just his name.
Yeah,
Well, he was the commentator at the beginning, but like,
right. I feel like it was just for him. It was like probably his agent or his business manager came to him and said like, they want to use your name for licensing on like, he probably thought it was like toys, like a boy.
No, I think at the beginning, I think he was more involved. Obviously, he wasn't like building the engine for like the PS2. Right. He wasn't doing that.
He was like, on the game.
I do think he had some like. It wouldn't shock me. He liked to laugh if like the whole ambulance running over players was his idea. Like that wouldn't shock me.
And I think we can confidently say, because he knew his football, he probably stuck around at least doing the player evaluations until I'd say at least 2013, because I'm looking at 2012, pulled up the Houston Texans depth chart here. Arian Foster, 92 overall in Madden, 91 in speed, 93 in acceleration. In fact,
would you stop? Wait,
all these numbers are in at least the high 70s. You were a really, really good player, except catching 69 and route running for Arian Foster, 58. So I just wanted to point those out. We all know what a football genius John Madden was. So thank you for showing Arian such love on every category except for 2 in your video.
Wait, what were her numbers and what was his numbers in 13?
In 13, let me look it up. Hang on.
Couldn't have been good. I think I got hurt that year. That's when I had the back injury.
Oh, okay.
He did. He showed you a lot of love though, compared from like your 2000, your 2010.
John Madden individually ranks all the players.
Yeah. There was a very funny open letter that Ethan Albright sent one time to John Madden, because he was a long snapper for the Washington Redskins for a long time, and he was a Pro Bowler. And they gave him, like very high ratings when it came to his, snapping ability. But then I think his kick catch ability was like a 0. I think he actually gave him a 0. And Ethan Albright was like, wait, are you saying that if a ball came to me, I would stand there and it would hit me in my face and knock me out on the ground cold? He's like, I've returned a kick on hands team before. And so he sent that appeal directly to Madden, got it taken care of. I think they bumped it up eventually. Let's see.
Shout out to him.
Arian Foster.
What matters.
Next year, 96 overall. 96 overall.
Holy shit, Arian.
You have a 33 on throw power. That's pretty bad.
Which is super cap. I had a better arm than a couple of the quarterbacks on the roster, my G.
Yeah.
I used to fuck with that because so the like when Cats is doing special teams, the primary players, like they kind of just did whatever, right? And so what I would do, I would go throw with the quarterbacks, and so like they would do like their little rollout shits, and I would be hitting the targets. I used to fuck with the quarterbacks coach. I was like, yo, you got to throw me in. And I ended up lobbying. It took me years, but I ended up lobbying, so I actually threw a touchdown pass. Took me years to get that.
I think I remember seeing you throw that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Do you have that ball?
To Fedorowicz. Nah, I don't have any balls.
Really?
Clip that. Yeah.
Not like your first touchdown or anything?
Nah, I'm not big on memorabilia. Like my mom was always kept all that shit. Like I don't have.
She have them?
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I don't have like anything. The only thing I have is in my closet. I have this in this stowaway. I have all the jerseys I swapped.
Oh, that's
I got
cool.
some killers. Yeah, I got some killers, dog.
What's the worst jersey that you have?
It's not the worst. It's that I didn't think enough of it at the time. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
No, you already said it's not the worst.
No. I didn't swap with him. I ain't gonna say it because I don't want to get to him and feel like, you know what I'm saying. I left it at another house that I had, and I just forgot. It was like in the garage, and I was like, oh shit, I left that jersey. But I just didn't. I didn't.
Might bleep it.
Nah, I'm not even gonna say it, man. I don't
what position was he?
Give us a hint.
How does that work before the game? Do you talk with your teammates and you're like, after the game, I want Indomitian, and they're like, okay, Arian called Indomitian, I'm going to get Megatron? Or is there
there's definitely tiers. There's tiers. There's a hierarchy, right? So it's like, if you're like a Pro Bowl player, like perennial Pro Bowl player, you can swap with whoever you want to. Like, because when I was like the first year, like I couldn't swap. Like I'd be like, yo, can I get you? Then I'd be like, no. But like if they respect you, they'd be like, yeah. So before the game, I'm the reason why I got Charles Woodson was I asked him before the game, I was like, yo, he was the one growing up, like, you know, Heisman Trophy winner, Big T, rightfully so. National championship winner is what it is. But Dre was talking to him after me, and after the game, Dre was like, you motherfucker. He's like, Charles was supposed to switch with me, but he said he already gave it to you. I was like, damn, that sucks. It is what it is.
Did you see the guy who asked Tom Brady to sign a football for him after the game yesterday?
Did I see him?
He picked that ball off.
Yes, he intercepted Tom Brady and took the ball to Tom Brady and asked him to sign it.
Also, shout out.
That's fire.
Which I actually think the fact that he picked it off makes that like
really cool.
Okay and cool.
That's fire.
I liked it either. Even if he didn't, I liked it. I don't know why people would hate. Like, objectively, the best quarterback to ever play. You're on the Jets. You've never seen a quarterback remotely this good.
I think it would look different though if it was just somebody
objectively, Aaron.
It's
not objective.
Like if you were just a player on the Jets and you were like, Mr. Brady, will you sign this ball? If he hadn't,
right.
Like I think that's different.
Well, I think Brady views every single Jet like that guy in that voice to begin with. So I don't think he has no idea that's the guy who picked him off. You know what I mean? Like he thinks that's who he signed it for.
No, he knows. He knows he picked him.
He remembers all that.
Like you remember about the numbers things. You can tell that Brady's like a very attention to detail guy. Like he knows.
I think he'll watch. He's already watched the film and he's gone, oh, that's the guy who asked me for the autograph. But in the moment, I think he was just like, another fan on arrival.
There was a weird thing. So Keelan Cole was the guy who jumped into the stands in that Jets game to take the ball out of the kid's hand.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
Turns out that's not the first time he did that. There was a TikTok going around of him asking a fan for the jersey off his back. There's some weird, like, you know, memorabilia thing going on with Keelan Cole. I got to figure.
So wait.
I'm hot in that case. Shout out Big Sean Quiggs for figuring that out.
Okay. I appreciate that too, Billy. But you also just said that it's not the first time that he's jumped into the stands to try to take a ball back from a 5-year-old that had the ball. And then you said the other time was there was an adult male that wanted his jersey and they were seen on camera talking to each other.
When I said the first time he does that, I meant try to get memorabilia from fans in the.
Okay, so in the second video, he was trying to get the jersey that the fan was wearing.
Something weird's going on.
Okay,
I'm gonna figure it out.
All right, but he did jump into the stands and he tried to strip the ball from a 5-year-old that had it in the stands, and maybe more embarrassing, he was unable to dislodge the ball, and he plays defense, right?
Yeah.
And so he was not able to.
Why was he trying to? What was the ball? Like, why was he trying to get
defense?
He's a receiver.
Oh, he's a receiver. Okay, but still, bad job on his part trying to dislodge the ball from a 5-year-old.
Why was he trying to do that?
We're not really sure.
I think he probably listens to this show. He heard Billy say it's illegal, and he wanted to make sure that 5-year-old didn't get sued.
Yep. Thank you, Keelan Cole.
I'm saying, was it like a interception or a touchdown ball? Or was it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a touchdown to Braxton Berrios.
Mm-hmm.
It was a touchdown in a completely meaningless game that had no significance whatsoever.
It meant a lot.
You gotta let that kid have it.
A 5-year-old. A 5-year-old.
That was
very been older.
There's one other thing I want to talk about before we get to today's topic, which is the future. And that one last thing is a project that I think we should consider sending Billy to. It's Alphacon. You guys heard of Alphacon?
No.
Everybody do me a
Billy
favor.
belongs there.
Do me a favor and Google Alphacon. It's a convention.
Wait,
for alphas.
What radio program did you hear a commercial for this on?
It's on the internet, the deep web.
Alphacon 2022.
Alphacon 2022, February 18th and 19th, Salt Lake City.
That's
Be
the
great.
least alpha city ever.
Be great or be nothing. You think so?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So appearing at Alphacon, Jimmy Rex, you know him, Keaton Hoskins, Jason Harward, Tim Ballard, Ian Wint, and it's hosted by The Bull.
I'm looking at who are these men?
This is fake,
Alphas.
right?
They're alphas. What do you mean, who are these guys?
Are they famous?
If you guys send me there, I'm gonna come back with a vengeance.
Bro. Who is the bull, bro? What the fuck is this?
He looks like he kind of looks like a human pit bull.
Oh my God, no,
He used to play linebacker for the Texans. That's who that is.
no.
Tell me what is the premise of the Alphacon, bro? Is this a real thing for real?
Yeah.
Someone photoshopped it and put douchecon. That's funny.
We need to get Billy to Alphacon to do some investigated and some serious investigation here. Oh, now there's some haters on Reddit that are saying, is anybody surprised that Alphacon is a con? I guess they're trying to take your money from you. I doubt
Could have
that.
seen that coming.
The bull got on skinny jeans, bro. Look at this.
Yeah, dude.
Alpha.
Oh my God, his legs are so
Is this
skinny.
like trying to make betas alphas? I mean,
I think these are sigmas.
Sigma males,
Yeah.
that's better, right?
these guys.
Wait.
Holy shit.
No, I think alpha's better.
No, Sigma I think is the ultimate alpha.
Is it like S tier?
Yeah, Sigma is ultimate alpha.
Here's
They're omegas.
a post on IGN boards from someone who has commented on this website 82,000 times saying, anyone else going to Alphacon 2022? And he's real excited about it.
So
Now, I feel like I have to. Was there a 2021 or a 2020? Because if there wasn't, I already don't trust these guys.
I'll look.
You want to see a
Yep.
proven track record of Alphacon being
Well,
a
I
success.
like, especially in the face of a pandemic. Like, if they weren't staring the pandemic in the face and still meeting, they're not true alphas. That's
do
like
not
the
see
biggest
an
testament.
Alphacon 2021.
So I googled Alphacon 2021, and the only thing that comes up is a gaming convention, like a alpha gaming convention.
Okay.
So I don't think that's the same thing.
yeah, this.
I think we should send Billy,
think we send Billy.
Yeah.
but undercover
gotta go.
as like an extreme beta, even more extreme than normal, and just have we'll
Just put glasses on them. Like, what's that?
Yeah, and then he becomes like the
Like,
hot girl in movies.
I'm gonna walk with a slouch.
yeah, have bad posture. We'll rent you a Prius. You'll pull up.
Sperry's. Where's Sperry's?
Sperry's.
Yeah.
Sperry's are alpha. Sperry's in Nike Elite socks. Like,
Alpha.
That's an alpha move.
And like the pink Vineyard Vine polo shirt.
No, well, that's too far.
Y'all are describing every SEC fan section. Oh, we gotta talk about my dog, man, Antonio Brown.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were getting there with the CTE talk.
So
I thought we were gonna get a lot of things.
All right. Go ahead. PFT.
no, I'm just asking. Do you know Antonio? Have you ever met him?
I mean, we just threw ball. Like, I've never had a conversation with him. Nah, like a deep one. I've been saying what's up to him. And
Did
shit
you
like
swap
that, but-
jerseys with him?
No, I swapped with Troy Polamalu that game. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah. So what's your take on it?
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not gonna get in on the first round because the writers that vote on it are fucking squares. But he's a first ballot Hall of Fame talent. Like, it is what it is. So this might be a killjoy to all your jokes y'all want to get off, but like, yo, my dog, like, something's wrong, right? Like, I don't know if it's CTE, I don't know whatever's the mental health aspect of it. I don't know if there's a diagnosis, but like, something's wrong with my guy. Like, and if I don't want to judge, like, but that's what it seems like from the outside. And so I get the internet culture, like, and everybody throwing jokes and shit, but it's like, we have two sides, right? We have one side of like, yo, men have the highest rate of suicide, and we always want to do all this mental health awareness shit. But like when you see somebody in public breaking down mentally, people just pile on, and I don't understand how you can have those exact same beliefs. And so I try to go ahead.
If he is having mental issues, which is certainly possible, I'm not denying that because I don't know. The Bucks as an organization and Tom Brady specifically are horrible people for just leaving him in New York like that. He did that at a road game. He didn't hop in his car and drive home. He was in a different city. And B, Tom Brady basically forcing him, because he got up on the podium right after the game and was saying a lot of this. You got to feel bad for him. He's got all these problems. Tom Brady's the only person keeping him in football and out of counseling or whatever help he needs. The Patriots were the only team that wanted him, and then the Bucks were the only team that wanted. Like, Tom Brady's the only reason he's still playing football. So if he truly does need this help, Tom Brady should be in jail because he's actively making sure he cannot get help.
The structure of football, though, may have helped him to get help, you know?
It doesn't seem like it based on everything we saw yesterday.
I think Tom Brady's he looks at his like Antonio Brown reclamation project that he's been on. You're right, Coley. He's been like a one-man crusade to try to, keep Antonio Brown around because the guy can still play football. He's still really fucking good at playing wide receiver. And he said after the game, everybody needs to, take a moment to be kind to him and to try to help him out. That seems like that was Tom Brady's job, was to, I think in his mind, he's like, if I can keep Antonio Brown playing football, that gives him something to stay on the straight and narrow for. And hopefully he won't screw up too much if he knows that there's an ability to make millions of dollars and all this and that. And if it is a mental health issue, which it very well could be, maybe he needed a little bit more than just, put on a helmet and come out, score a touchdown. That'll make you feel better.
Right. Was it Tom saying, hey, stay on the straight and narrow, it's going to help you out, or it's going to help Tom out?
Right.
But I bet Tom Brady, within the structure, he had him living in his house for a while. He probably was making him go see somebody, taking the steps to make sure that he wasn't going off the rails. He was under his roof. He probably had a level of we'll try to
monitoring.
Keep your career, keep you playing football, keep you getting paid, but also help you get help so that you don't have these.
It's a pretty big
leap. If you don't know how to help someone, if your idea of help is just, hey, do everything that I do, that's not necessarily help.
But he may have also been like, go.
But we don't know. We don't know that.
Know.
We just know what we know. And we know is he's been actively forcing him to play football.
My guess is Tom Brady was like, okay, it's going to be Mental Health Wednesday. So that means no nightshades. You can't have no tomatoes today. You'll feel way better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Glad I could help. I mean,
try this avocado ice cream. It cures. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing with these new age quarterbacks too. They all think, and like Gronk said it too, like everyone thinks they have the cure for CTE. Like Russell Wilson was selling those like bread footballs and that bubbly water.
The nano bubbles. Yeah.
Yeah. These cure it. When Gronk was retired for that 1 year, he just kept saying like CBD cures it. So Tom Brady definitely thinks he can cure CTE. I mean, we've gone 10 minutes now. We haven't even brought up Vontaze Burfict.
I honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't know. Like when I see, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have a little bit because, I took a psych class once, but I'm just saying like Antonio Brown gives me more of like Kanye West.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Like someone who never played football, then, like.
Are you saying it's more like personality based than it is traumatic brain injury?
Maybe it's contributing.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think he's always been mentally ill, and then he played football for a long time, and it made it much worse.
He's always been a diva wide receiver, which has been a staple in football since they invented the forward pass, which I'm always okay with. There did seem to be a bit of a shift in how he was acting the second Vontaze Burfict broke his head.
Yeah, that was a brutal hit that he had in that one game. Was that 2015?
It was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, just on a crossing route, Vontaze put his shoulder right into his chin. And he had the fencing response before he even hit the ground on his way down. So, I mean, we don't know exactly what's going on with Antonio. There's also a chance that he's just kind of an asshole.
Correct.
That's another option too. He could be just kind of an asshole who's a great wide receiver. He could have some sort of mental health issue going on. I think a lot of people are speculating on that just because the body of evidence that we've seen, it doesn't seem like the actions of somebody who's normal. But again, we don't know what abnormal means in this case. If that means that he has like a lingering effect from an injury, or if he's kind of a prick.
The thing is, throughout Antonio Brown's, antics, as you may call them, he seems kind of high motor and almost like happy the whole time.
Having a grand old time.
Yeah, which may make it easier to criticize him. But if you
because he feels no remorse.
Like,
almost.
for example, if you had Lane Johnson, who, has a lot of admitted mental health issues, he's always talking about, he's like, it's very, his problems cause him to recede, anxiety, depression, whereas Antonio Brown's is super extroverted. So I think that's why it's easier to make fun of Antonio Brown, because he's just like, he's acting like
it's
releasing
so outward.
rap albums, like doing crazy antics that seem sort of to the outsider that he's like having a great time, but maybe people just react differently to those sorts of strain.
And I mean,
he's also assaulted people like on the record too. So it's not just that like he's doing these wacky bits. Like he's also done like genuinely shitty things. So that's where it's like, I have no problem making fun of this guy.
And when he quit during the third quarter, it was objectively funny to see him like throwing his jersey, like taking all of his clothes off on the sideline and throwing them into the stands. What was that? Wasn't there like a movie? Was it Royal Tenenbaums, where one of the tennis playing sons quit, and they're like, and I believe he's taken off his shoes on the court and he's crying. I'm pretty sure.
What year did this movie come out?
That's a good question. 2000s.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, like 05 maybe, 04?
Really?
I feel like who was
Not
the
that old. It's old. It was not a timely reference by any means.
No, definitely not. None of mine are.
01.
Who was
01, okay.
Who was the guy that was trying to like stop him from taking his
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Oh, that was Mike Evans. Like, I feel like it's almost just like a melting pot. Like, at that point, if you've played football for that long and you've done shitty things like assault people, and you have the Vontae perfect hit, like you have things like that. Like, I think it's not one pinpoint.
Well, I want to bring this up also. He released a song 3 hours after the game ended.
Yesterday?
It's kind of a good song.
And it's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
I was listening to it, and it was kind of like,
I was on PlayStation with my friends, and I started playing. I said, I'm going to say something. And my buddy goes, don't say it. And I was like, it's not that terrible.
I mean, I'm telling you, it gives me Kanye vibes.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
that sort of brain that where it's like super creative.
Excellent musician.
I said that to say that, like, did he plan this? Like, was he planning on quitting in the middle of the game?
Like, to be theatrical?
Being the number one trend
I
on
don't hate
Twitter
it.
so he can release his song?
Yeah.
But I don't
hate it.
Like, I didn't see the song pop up.
Oh, I saw the song everywhere. I bet it had, let's go, because he tweeted it out.
Let me play the song.
When he was getting a ride from the guy that we interviewed on Part of My Take,
guy?
Danny Boy Hustle Hard, there was one clip that Danny Boy Hustle Hard put out on his Instagram where AB was in the background and you could hear him saying, this is going to make my Instagram, or this is going to make my Netflix series. So I guess Antonio Brown has a Netflix series.
Does he?
Or does he? We don't know.
We
Is
cannot.
he manifesting?
So many Antonio Brown things have happened in such a short time. And I don't mean 24 hours, like the last 2 years. When he got released by the Raiders, he remember that black and white video he had, like drone shots over Oakland or Las Vegas, wherever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And like the phone call he recorded of, like, I think he thinks he's in the Truman Show. Like, I think he thinks that's his life. I don't think there is a Netflix show. I think he thinks he's in like season, how old is he? 31? He's in season 31 of this Netflix show.
Yeah. I remember when he got that call from Gruden, he was like, it was insane that Antonio Brown just dropped a trailer for Antonio Brown where it was his coach calling him up, begging him to stay on the team, trying to work it out. And it's like, wait a sec, does John Gruden know that you were recording that and that you just put that out online? He might be the only sane one, actually, the more I think about it. Antonio Brown is like, maybe he's just seeing really clearly and none of us are.
He literally dismantled he's the only person. Peyton Manning couldn't do it. The Steelers couldn't do it. The Giants, as much as they tried, couldn't. He's the only person to successfully break up the Patriots. The only reason Tom Brady's on the Bucs is so he could play with Antonio Brown. It's the only reason he left. If Bill Belichick had kept Antonio Brown around, if he just turned a blind eye, like fucking, what's the name of their coach?
Arians.
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, Bruce Arians. If they had just turned 2 weeks ago, Bruce Arians was like, he's a model citizen. Forget about the vaccination card. Forget about all of these, but model citizen.
Oh, yeah,
you're talking like you actually believe this.
Believe what?
What you're saying. That Tom Brady would still be playing in New England if they kept Antonio Brown?
The only reason he left was so he could play with Antonio Brown.
You don't believe that.
Why is Antonio Brown on the Bucs?
Those two things can be true. Tom Brady could have been fed up with playing in New England, and also once he got to Tampa Bay, still wanted to play with Antonio Brown.
He didn't have receivers up here. Like, he left so he could play. He had Godwin, he had Evans, he had OJ Howard. Like, he had plenty down there without Antonio. Like, they did not need Antonio Brown to win the Super Bowl last year. He went there so he would have gone to any team that also would have taken Antonio Brown. They were a package deal.
But you think that's the sole reason he left?
I think he wasn't upset ever until we cut Antonio Brown, ever. And there was a meeting that was held between Robert Kraft, who was very outspoken against signing Antonio Brown in the first place. He did not want it to happen. He had a meeting with him before he left, and he said, I don't know what he said because I wasn't there, obviously, but I believe that was his last pitch. Like, hey, if you bring AB back, like, I need a receiver. Our receiving core was bad. If we had drafted Debo over fucking N'Keal Harry, maybe he's still here too. I'm not saying we didn't make other mistakes that led to him being fed up. But when you do have a first ballot Hall of Fame receiver in the twilight of this guy's career, yeah, he needed someone to throw to. It just happened to be an insane person.
I think it's possible that could have been the last straw. I don't think there's any way that's the reason he left.
I think if we had kept him, he would still be here, yes.
Okay.
Even with the rest of the receivers not being great.
I think that's slightly different than saying that's like the main.
But I'm saying we had the choice to keep him. We did not.
Okay,
and he left.
I don't find that position as egregious as he left because of that.
Perhaps I worded it not the best, but my larger point is, if we had just kept him around, Brady doesn't leave for sure. Which I'm shocked more people don't. So I was arguing with someone earlier. They were like, oh, of course he'll sign with another team. When he was a free agent before Tampa got him, no one was calling him other than Tampa. It just so happens to be the team with Brady. Like, I don't see him getting picked up by some. Maybe Rodgers right now, but I feel
no. He'll never.
He doesn't want to fuck up what they have going on.
He'll never play another down.
I don't think so either. He showed up a coach. Like, I think he'll truly be blackballed.
That would be very funny, though, if he did go to Green Bay and just became like more Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers is right now. He's like extremely talented, maybe the best of all time or one of the best at his position. But he did everything that Aaron Rodgers does, except he does it to 15 as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, he'll just like lie about getting vaccinated. He won't actually produce documents that are forgeries. In a way, that would be the most satisfying of all, is to just have Aaron Rodgers play football with a guy who's just like he is. But
like family.
But I agree with Arian Foster that there's probably something going on that's behind the scenes. We don't know what it is, but it's also impossible for us, since we don't know what it is. I don't really know what the appropriate thing for us to do is to react to it. Like, I'm going to make a couple jokes, but at the same time, I'm also thinking about the fact that this is a man who might not be well right now.
I think it's very similar to the Kanye West argument. Yeah. Like, you don't know what's up, but something's up.
I know, like, this is why I'm glad Arian's back. Do you know the Vontaze Burfict hit on AB?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do players feel about something like that? Because I think that really, like, I think he was just a diva wide receiver, like a prototypical diva wide receiver before that hit. And then I don't know if he's been 100%. Like, how do players feel when like a hit like that happens?
I think anything that's kind of, I think, are you thinking about the dirty one?
Neither were great. I mean, they were both shots to the head. I know he hit them twice. One was more dirty than the other, but either way, they were shots to the head. Like, I know a lot of guys would be like, break my legs before you hit me in the head.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the spirit of playing ball, nobody cares, But if you're doing dirty shit, like, It's like, what are you doing, fam? Like it's not like I don't know. There's just no need. We all out here for the same purpose. We out here trying to feed, our families. Like there's no reason to go hard for the Baltimore Ravens. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
unless you're
chill.
Bart Scott and you say like Joe Burrow's got a red dot on him for the rest of his career. Did you see that?
I did see that rant. I don't know. I can't, cats that retire and then get on TV and talk, are wild to me. They say some of the wildest shit, man. Like I don't know. I can't call it. That shit was hilarious though.
Now Bart Scott just seems like an asshole. Like I think we can confidently say that he's kind of a prick. After everything that you've seen from him over the course of his career, he's a great football player, and I think probably being a little bit crazy and being a little bit of a dickhead makes you better if you're a linebacker.
Yeah. Well, the majority of violence makes you a great football player, but not a good human, right? It's hard to turn off sometimes. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be an asshole out there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Were you an asshole when you were like pass protection?
I was an asshole, period. I was like, if you watch old film of me just like during the game, I will talk the most shit. Like, I'm not a good person on it. It's like a mental switch. Like, I'm like, they're trying to hurt me, like, so I put myself in a mindset of like, fuck that, like this, it's a weird switch, or it's like, your adrenaline go, like, it sounds like it's war out there. So it's like, fuck that. I'm not a good person on the football field. I never was.
All right. Well, anything else we want to get into off the top? Anything that we missed?
Betty White.
R.I.P. Betty White.
I cried.
Yeah.
Legend.
I love her.
She was very funny. Very funny.
Like,
seemed
so
like a good
funny.
person.
Loves animals.
Yeah. She did get Madden cursed by People magazine.
Did we mention her on the podcast before?
No, I don't think so.
We talked about
did.
her in the same
We talked about
sentence.
in the
We talked
same
about
breath.
John Madden.
Oh, no.
I think we can't put it on us. I think, as we'll see in some of our futurism
We might be predicting
conversations,
things.
that we're not predicting things, and a lot of people who are predicting things are just taking the information at hand and just.
Well, people did that every time. Anytime people saw the word Betty White, they're like, "Oh, is she dead?" People have done that for 10 years. So, like,
Yeah, that's what happens when you're on the other side of 90.
yeah.
Yeah, she was 99, almost 100. So the People magazine cover, she was on it a couple weeks ago, like
Yeah.
last
It
week.
was like Betty White turns 100.
Yeah, Betty White turns 100. Not so fast, my friend. Her birthday was going to be late January, I think.
January
17th,
17th.
I think.
Yeah, so she just
What is wrong with you, man?
went to go Lee Corso on Betty
Not
White's.
so fast.
Yeah.
You put on the fucking, I don't even know who her rival is. You put on
Golden
her
Girl.
head.
So I had the Betty White.
Judy Dench's head. Yeah.
I had the Betty White head dress thing on. I threw it into the crowd. They all went nuts. And it's like Helen Mirren. We're going with Helen Mirren. It's very funny though, the way that it happened. I think that Betty would have kind of appreciated the irony in the fact that they celebrated her 100th birthday
Before she turned 100.
Yeah. So, but she was a legend of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I
Very,
hope that
very
wasn't her
funny
last thought. I hope that wasn't her last conscious thought. Like fucking
People
I was high
magazine.
stepping at 20.
person. Yeah.
I doubt her last conscious thought was People magazine celebrating her birthday.
She tweeted it out. She might have.
Yeah, she had like an Instagram and a Twitter. I'm highly, highly, highly doubting it was run by her. But like that is crazy that like she posted like right before she died.
Mm-hmm.
Being like, thanks People magazine for honoring my 100th birthday. I was stalking her Instagram after she died. There was like 3 separate Instagram posts about her 100th birthday before she turned 100.
Yeah, she was.
People were like, not just like people in general were really playing that up only to jinx that.
There's a movement online to just give her the 100th, just like the 13 days.
Yeah. Who
So
cares?
we're just giving her the 100. She's up.
Nope.
No,
She gets the Smucker's jar on the Today Show.
Yeah, give her the 100.
She didn't.
She wasn't 100. What do you mean?
She was
Give her 100.
2 weeks
We're just gonna
away.
give her the 100.
This is Kobe Bryant. Job's not finished. Like, the job wasn't finished.
Bad reference. Just a
What?
bad. Just a bad reference. Just
Why?
a bad one.
Job's,
What do you mean,
Job's not
why?
finished.
She didn't make it to
He's
100.
talking about the press conference, not the helicopter.
Yeah,
flight.
this has nothing to do with him being dead.
It's just
People post that clip all the time. Job's not finished. What's there to be happy about? Is the job finished?
The juju of this conversation is just, I'm going to go ahead and Homer Simpson back away out of this.
I know what Big T was saying, but
I reject any criticism for that. There's nothing
I'm
wrong
with
that.
Big T, and I'm against Betty White making it to 100.
all right, criticism rejected by Big T. Let the record state.
Do you want better? Because y'all was talking about how she posted right before her death. Like Herman Cain actually tweeted after he died.
Guy's still tweeting.
Is he still tweeting?
Guy's tweeting up a storm. Yeah, that guy can't stop tweeting.
Oh my God.
That's how like Michael Jackson's still tweeting.
His family's got the
Jukebox
account.
got an account, I think. It's
He
crazy.
got a social
Innocent.
media manager running the stage.
Dead
Innocent.
persons.
Oh man.
Innocent.
Do you know, you want to talk about somebody that's still tweeting? Charlie Daniels, rest in peace. He would tweet every morning some crazy, y'all think I'm a Republican. Go read some of Charlie Daniels' tweets.
Benghazi ain't going away.
Yeah, he would tweet every morning, we remember Benghazi and a bunch of other shit. His family like still tweet. I went and looked this morning. I don't want to, let me find one that's like not that bad. This morning, 6 hours ago, keeping Charlie's legacy alive. Benghazi ain't going away. They tweet it every morning along with several other things. He's still, what he was tweeting is still alive and well.
And he's dead?
He died a year ago, maybe like last summer-ish.
Who is he?
He wrote Devil Went Down to Georgia. He was a country music star.
Mhm. He also did a great version of Rocky Top.
Fantastic. For the troops. It's a live, like a USO thing.
Mm-hmm. That's what when Atlanta won the World Series, we went out to Village Tavern.
We did.
We put that on the jukebox like 5 times in a row.
I haven't told you this. I found out maybe 2 weeks ago that you're the one that played that.
Yeah.
We were in Village Tavern at 1 a.m, whatever time it was. And I'd like finished writing a blog. We were drinking, having a great time. And Rocky Top came on, and I was like, holy shit, what a night. The Braves won the World Series. They're playing Rocky Top.
The Cosmos are smiling on Big T.
It came on a second time immediately after. It still did not occur to me that there was a jukebox in there. I found out 2 weeks ago when I was talking, I don't remember if it was to Avery or somebody, and I was like, do you remember like when Rocky Top came on? Like, that was fucking awesome. And he was like, you know PFT did that, right? And I was like, you're shitting me.
I really wish that he had not told you that.
I don't remember if it was him.
Maybe it was
you know who
Malasek.
it was Jake.
Yeah.
Who was with us that night.
So Big T was ascending to the God moment at that point because
My brain was turned off at that point.
that's also when it looked like New Jersey was going to elect a Republican governor, right?
Oh yeah, it was the red wave that
Jake
night.
and I were enjoying the red wave. Yeah.
Yeah, the red wave was occurring, and the Atlanta Braves were World Series champions, and Rocky Top was on.
I remember Big T just kept saying, everything's coming up Big T
Yeah.
tonight.
It was coming up Big T. It was a great night.
All right. Well, anything else we want to get to about stuff that happened over the break while we were gone? I don't have COVID anymore. That's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I'm symptom free according to the CDC guidelines.
Wow.
I'm free to be out in public right now.
That's something we can talk about.
Yeah, they keep changing their mind on everything. The bottom line is I've realized that through this pandemic, nobody really knows anything. Everyone's always kind of guessing based on what the latest studies came out, like a month ago. Then we base everything on that. And then we're very slowly to adapt everything. But as of right now, they say if you go 5 days, your symptoms are improving or they're not there anymore, and I don't feel symptomatic at all, then you're free to go back out in public. So Omicron, I think it was Omicron that got me. I think Omicron beat my ass a little bit in this last week. And I think I just chewed up and spit out Delta when that hit me like 3 weeks ago. So I don't know. My body's like a petri dish.
What happens when we, like, the Greek alphabet's not
Forever.
Infinite.
like, what are we going to go to like hurricane names?
Then
Like, what happens?
then we go
now?
sorority
there's-
names. Then we go like Kappa Kappa Gamma.
Also, why are we jumping around? I feel like
Because there was a beta. That was the original.
Yeah, I think we just didn't hear like until like I don't know does the Greek alphabet follow our alphabet? Like, I don't know the Greek
I
alphabet.
just
So
know
it's all
Alpha,
very new to me.
Beta, and Omega's last.
Where's Omicron? Are we like in the middle?
I'll
Is
look it up.
Omicron?
I would assume so.
It's not Omarion. He
Who
wanted to make
does-
that very clear.
That was fucking hilarious, dog. And then the quote tweet above him was, "It's exactly what
It was me.
That was you. That's exactly what a variant would say. That's fucking hilarious.
The Marion variant.
Like, what does
Omicron is like
mean?
middle to end.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end.
Either
After
we're
that
gonna
is
have
pi.
to go to hurricanes, or like the last one's just gonna kill us all. I think those are our two options.
No, there was I saw an influenza COVID combo.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, that one's strong.
The pi wave is what's next, though.
I was told only
Yeah.
2,000 people get the flu now, so I don't know how that's popping up.
Huh.
Who told you that?
The CDC.
Okay, yeah. See,
We went from 38 million to 2,000
So
in
this,
a year.
guys, this one's called #Florona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the flu corona combination.
Sounds like
COVID and
a
influenza.
swim up bar in Miami.
Yeah, it sounds refreshing. I want the coronavirus. Hell yeah. I
Sounds like a
also
good drink for sure.
I did a little bit of I dipped my toes into Billy's world a little bit over this break too, because
You're on TikTok?
no, I listened to Joe Rogan podcast. So
Oh, shit.
I wanted to hear
He was ankle deep in Billy's
I
world.
wanted to hear where Billy gets his information. So I feel like now we can speak the same language now that we have the same background on a lot of things. And
What do you want to talk about?
so I did think one thing.
Which episode?
The kook doctor, McCulloch, is that the one?
Yeah,
that's like,
McCulloch.
yeah, he's like,
Kook doctor, because you don't
He
agree
was
with
saying
them.
that
no,
there
it's not that I don't agree. I listened to some of the stuff that he said, which made sense, and then I also have done a lot of reading on this guy, and many of his claims are dubious. And he's a big guy that'll like take the data to fit in whatever his argument is. He'll go find one study where one part of it proves this one part of the thing. So, but I do think that he brought up a good point, which was we've done a piss poor job in this country of managing people right when they get sick. It's basically we've told America, if you get COVID, just kind of lock yourself in your house for a while and drink water. And then hope you get better over the course of a week. And if you can't breathe, then go to the hospital. And that's kind of how we've managed it. And then once you get to a hospital, they can either try to give you something, or they just say, well, we're going to put you on oxygen or a ventilator, and you're probably going to be fucked if you're on a ventilator. So we haven't really made any headways into how to treat somebody right when they get it, to make sure that it doesn't get to the point where it's bad. And his explanation behind it was the government focused all their energy on developing the vaccine through Operation Warp Speed, that they didn't want to spend too much time going down the different roads of how to treat something, which might have been able to save, tens of thousands of lives if you had something that people could take besides literally. How lazy is our government that it's like, drink water. That's the best thing that we can have to offer you right now. And I did drink a lot of water. It did, I turned out fine, but a lot of people that go through it and really get sick while they're at home, that must be a very scary feeling, to just be getting worse and worse and worse. And there's no option that you have besides like trying to put your finger in the air and guess when you should go to the hospital.
So
Right.
one thing that guy said, which I researched because I really wanted to figure out if it was true, he said there was mercenaries in Africa destroying supplies of hydrochloroquine. And I was like, what the hell? If that is true, if there's hired mercenaries destroying stockpiles of hydrochloroquine so that more people die and don't get access to this, I looked it up. I can't find anything on that. So,
And
That
there,
would also, I feel like that wouldn't be like a top 10,000 worst thing African mercenaries were doing to the people of Africa.
right.
Like that,
But-
I
but
feel like
this
they're
is-
robbing them of a lot of other things that they
but
need.
this is like Blackwater type guys going and
Sure.
destroying. And like, if that was really true, like I'm trying to find any type of mention of this.
I think that so when I heard him talk about that, my initial reaction was there are a lot of conflicts going on in the continent of Africa. Is a pretty fucking big place. I don't know if you guys know this, because like a lot of the stuff that we're taught in school really doesn't. It's like, okay, well, this major event happened in the 7th district outside the Basque territory in Spain, where we like zoom in really, really far. And then we're like, oh, there was also a war in Africa. And so they don't really give you any context, but there are a lot of conflicts that go on in the entire continent of Africa. It would not shock me if through all the attacks and some of the pillaging and the burning that's done through various groups, they hit like a medicine factory and burned a medicine factory that happened to also produce hydrochloroquine or whatever it is. So I don't think it's tough to make the connection of the worldwide shadow government is trying to keep this miracle drug out of our hands when it could be just like literally thousands of other explanations, if it is even true at all. But yeah, it was good to get a little bit of insight into Billy's world.
Well, it's not it's you take stuff with a grain of salt. A lot of like there were like, for example, you said you couldn't catch COVID twice, and as someone who tested positive for COVID twice, I was like, okay, dude, like. But he also gave that talk before Omicron really got widespread.
Yeah, I mean everything changes all the time.
Yeah.
Like the Omicron virus, it if you have a vaccination against coronavirus, it's not going to do much to stop you from contracting this at all. So the vaccine is not effective, and it's not super effective in preventing you from getting Omicron. It has some effect, and then if you do get sick, it generally helps, like it does help if anybody else gets sick after they've been vaccinated.
Yeah, I saw something where it was like, oh, did you test positive for COVID and you think it's Omicron, but you don't have like mild to zero symptoms? Like, congratulations, your vaccine worked. Like, that's basically the point of it. Like, obviously, it sucks that you got vaccinated and boosted and you're still getting COVID. But, like, I think a lot of people forget that, like, the vaccine wasn't to, like, totally eradicate the disease. Like, it was...
Well, and I know what Big T's about to say. Certain people were definitely pitching it that way.
Right. A lot
at
of
the
people
beginning
in the media, a lot of doctors.
You know what? Guys,
okay.
I think our listeners
yeah,
listen to Escape.
Yeah, I need.
I know. Well,
just
you know,
like
there's
that.
a clip. There's a clip of the one clip I know is Rachel Maddow saying, if you get the vaccine, you cannot contract COVID. You cannot pass it to another person.
Why are you listening to Rachel Maddow?
A lot of people do. Millions.
Why?
I agree with Arian, but if there are people with big enough audiences, certain people in that audience.
This is the argument that liberals make against conservatives, like getting kicked off Twitter and stuff. Like you don't deserve a platform. Well, if you're saying things like that turn out to be flagrantly untrue, I would make the argument you don't.
Well,
deserve
you know
a
what,
platform.
guys? No one can really predict the future.
Why?
No. Because
that was awesome. What Billy just did was great.
Some people really tried, and some people did get it right.
Hold on, my G. We in the middle of arguing.
I know, but we argue about this every episode. Some people want to hear about the future.
Nobody wants to.
It's the
hear
biggest
about the
story to happen in our lives by a lot.
Yeah, anyway, hold on, real quick, dog. First of all, there are varying degrees of misinformation, right? But if you're going to Rachel Maddow for your science day to day, like you're doing life wrong. It's not what you.
There are a lot of people who do.
I'm telling them they're getting it wrong. Like this is not a source that you should go to keep you up to date on science. It's just not a good source.
Yeah, I go to Rachel Maddow to get all my updates on Donald Trump's tax returns.
There are dozens of others just like that. That's the only clip I remember right now. I'm looking for.
But this is a live, like. The reason, like, our society is dumb. Like, I can't say it any other way. We're literally having these conversations. There's no way in a sane society we're having a conversation about, well, why can't Rachel Maddow get me the good information on? Why are you listening to her or Joe Rogan or any of these cats? I don't understand this shit. It should make no sense.
Did you guys see that new movie, Don't Look Up?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, good movie.
Fire.
But I think we can snipe a couple of Rogan's audience that left listening to Rogan because he just talked about the vaccines all the time and no cool shit that they like to hear about. So for those people,
welcome
let's talk
home.
about the future.
The future. I love it. Good segue, Billy. We appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to talk about the future.
COVID's going to be in the future.
Yep, sure is. Sure is. I don't think it's going away. I just hope that it's more of this Omicron mid bullshit. Like we can handle Omicron for a while, I think. But yeah, the future and just making predictions about the future because it's a new year. I feel like a lot of people have things that they think are going to happen this year, takes that they want to get out there. And also there's an entire just cottage industry called futurism, which is filled with some of the most hilarious people to ever set foot on the internet and just before the internet too. So Billy, I know you got tons of facts about futurism. You want to just walk us through what is futurism?
Since the dawn of time,
this is going to be good.
Man has looked
to the heavens.
No, it's actually very interesting. Since human, beings have written stuff down, since conversation has ever happened, most things have pointed to the future. And the most successful of our species have been able to determine what's going to happen in the future in order to make decisions in the now. When you look at some of these names, you see leaders. The idea of futurism used to be so intertwined with daily activity and political choice that it was the number one driver of who people wanted to lead them. The idea of taking information that you currently have and making correct decisions on that information in order to have the best outcome is something that we kind of take for granted. But many, successful people in our past have taken that to the next level in order to make huge decisions that have impacted world history.
Well said. I think the most successful futurists are the guys that like bought up all the sweet domain names back in 1990, 1995, and they just got like www.money.com, shit like that. If you had known how valuable those properties would be even like 5-6 years from now, and now people are always trying to like replicate that, and you see it happen on every single social media app or website that pops up. People try to grab those new domain names, like crypto wallets. A bunch of people are trying to buy like famous people's crypto wallet names, just hoping that that's going to be the next gold rush to come out there. Those people, I respect the hustle that goes into that. I mean, you spend like 6 months on like crypto.com, just like filling out tons and tons and tons of new account pages, just trying to hope that this is going to be one that strikes gold.
Yeah. And looking, we're at a pivotal time where, we are basically Web3 is coming around, and there are many people who are like, at some point, the way technology is progressing and everything is progressing, which has gotten exponentially faster since, centuries ago. Web3 may sound far-fetched now, but within the next year, it might be even more ingrained in our society and have some of the impacts that the cell phone had on our lives.
I got a dumb question, Billy. What's Web3?
I was just going to ask what was Web 2.
What's Web 1?
Is Web 1 like the .com bubble or burst or whatever?
Web 1 is Al Gore. Web 2
what did Al Gore have to do?
is a phone.
Invented the internet.
I know that's not true.
Okay.
As the
I took
internet,
a media literacy class.
as the internet was starting to develop,
Okay, so Web 1.0.
it received funding from the government to help it develop a little bit faster. Al Gore
okay.
was one of the people
Who lobbied for it?
who lobbied to help this particular program get more funding.
Okay.
Then Al Gore later on in his career said,
Took credit for the internet?
basically, yes,
Okay,
which
got
is a very, very funny claim to stake.
Okay. So was Web 2.0 like social media?
Web 1.0 refers to the first stage of the World Wide Web evolution. Earlier, there were only a few content creators in Web 1.0, with a majority of users who are consumers of content. Personal web pages were common, consisting mainly of static pages hosted on ISP run. Basically, in Web 1.0, advertisements on websites while surfing the internet are banned. Also, in Web 1.0, Zero Photo is an online digital photography website in which users could store, share, view, and print digital pictures. Web 1.0 is a content delivery network. So basically, very basic internet. Now, Web 2.0 refers to the worldwide websites which highlight user-generated content, usability, interoperability for end users. Web 2.0 is also called the participative social web.
So is it like Facebook?
Yeah. So Web 1.0 was like, like
A Space Jam website.
Yeah, just the transmission
basics
of data
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't, think about HTML error websites.
Okay.
Just like it's just words.
Nuts and bolts.
E-bombs world.
Yeah. And now we're in a Web 2.0 where users can share their own content. It's two-dimensional in that there's both uploading and downloading as opposed to just downloading.
And then is Web 3.0 like the crypto space?
Web 3.0
And like
refers
NFTs?
the evolution of web utilization and interaction, which includes altering the web into a database. It enables the upgraduation of the back end of the web after a long time of focus on the front end. Web 2.0 has mainly been about AJAX, tagging, and other front-end user experience innovation. Web 3.0 is a term that is used to describe many evolutions of web usage and interaction among several paths. In this, data isn't owned, but instead shared, where services show different views for the same web - the same data. So
basically,
we have no really idea what we're talking about.
So is Web 3.0 happening yet or no?
Kind of.
It's like, are we on Web 2.8 right now?
Yo, I must share this clip, right? It's a minute long, but it's the most brilliant shit ever, dog. David Bowie said this shit in 1999, dog.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
Fucking fire. Okay, for those who haven't, it's fucking unreal.
I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. I think the potential of what the internet is going to do to society, both good and bad, is unimaginable. I think we're actually on the cusp of something exhilarating and terrifying.
It's just a tool, though, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, it's an alien life form.
What do you think? I mean, when you think then about
is there life on Mars? Yes, it's just landed here.
But it's simply a different delivery system there. You're arguing about something more profound.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the actual context, and the state of content is going to be so different to anything that we can really envisage at the moment, where the interplay between the user and the provider will be so in simpatico. It's going to crush our ideas of what mediums are all about.
Bruh, that shit was unreal for 1999.
David Bowie's a futurist.
Have you seen the clip of Bill Gates? I think he's on, is it Jimmy Kimmel? And he's talking about email or something.
Yeah. You know, he's talking about
is it Conan?
I think it might have been David Letterman. He was talking about a baseball game. I think he was talking about a baseball game, listening to the baseball game.
Yeah. He's like, you'll be able to listen to the baseball game on the internet. And David Letterman goes, you mean like a radio? And everybody goes, ha, 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 ha. And Bill Gates is like, no, like it's going to be like, you can do whatever you want. And he's like, sure.
Well, you know what's so funny? Like hypothetically, in about 10 years, we're going to look at the people who are screenshotting NFTs and be like,
no, we're not.
Oh my God, Billy.
They say that
no,
now.
No, we're not.
I mean, you say that now. Like you're laughing like David Letterman at Bill Gates.
I am laughing. I am laughing at that shit.
I do want to laugh. I'm glad you brought them up, because like you talk about people who are bad at calling their shot, bad at looking into the future. The NFT people who were open, like much like Betty White herself, laughing in the face of God, high stepping at the 30, saying, oh, you can't steal these, only for them to get stolen immediately. The thieves are always ahead of the good guy. Like always. They're always going to learn how to steal shit. If you're paying for your own NFTs back from the guy who robbed you, you just got robbed by the wallet inspector. Like, that's all that is. Like
you're
fucking
not up to date on?
Yeah, the guy lost all his apes.
His apes.
All his apes
I have
gone.
no idea what we're talking about.
Is that the guy who makes the ape NFTs?
But if someone with a bunch of NFTs like lost a shit ton of money, I love it.
But the thing is,
not only did they lose money, Big T, their digital wallet got robbed, and then they paid the robber to get it back.
Oh, you hate to see that. You hate
to see it.
But remember, in the real world, at the beginning of ownership law, there was always those types of disputes.
There's still people stealing real things.
Yeah.
Like that didn't stop them.
Right. But hey, I mean, honestly, you know, people have been looking into the future, and a lot of them make correct assumptions, and some things we take for granted now. But if you look at the people who at what time they were predicting these things, it's actually very fascinating. So like one example that I had was H.G. Wells. So H.G. Wells was a science fiction writer, but he predicted a lot of what we have today in a lot of his writings.
Mm-hmm.
The shit behind Coley, The Simpsons, they predicted a lot of shit.
Yeah, the Simpsons are crazy.
Nostradamus. Nostradamus was awesome because
Alex Jones.
He just wrote a bunch of shit that sounded vague enough where it could fit into any scenario. And then people just go back and reread through his text and they're like, oh yeah, he predicted 9/11.
That's like
that guy.
Like, there will be a great war in the future. Like, oh, word, fam?
Yeah, no, I remember that like right after 9/11 happened, because I was 16, I believe. 16. And everybody was looking for meaning and for reason in those couple weeks after the attacks, trying to figure out what the hell is going on with our country, with our world. And then Nostradamus blew up all over the internet. They're like, holy shit, he predicted this? Because he had one passage that said like two brothers will be torn apart in a fireball in the sky, which could mean like literally anything. You could make that.
Well, they use that to predict. They use that same passage. They applied it to World War I when two brothers tore each other apart in the sky, where like German and English fighter at the time, like fighter biplanes were in the sky tearing each other apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like they applied it to that to predict World War I. Like QAnon did the same thing. They just put vague shit out and then connected it. Like you could like derive it from a ton of different scenarios if you have.
QAnon is so fun though. Like I can't. I gotta. That shit is fun as hell. Like it's just so funny. It's like I enjoy it.
Their problem is their predictions that they're making are way too close in the future. They need to push out the scope a little bit and say this is going to happen 2024, 2025. Instead, these guys in QAnon are like, next week JFK Jr. is going to come back and he's going to give a speech in Dallas, Texas. We're all going to go to it. Let's hurry up because seats on the plane are going fast. Let's all make sure that we can get hotel bookings. And then they show up the next week and they're like, fuck, I guess this one was wrong too. They need to have a little bit more foresight and to just say, okay, this is going to happen like July 4th. What's the next, I guess it'd be 2025, right? That or 2026 would be the 250th anniversary of the United States founding. They just got to push it out to them. Be like July 4th, 2026. That's when JFK Jr. is going to come back and he's going to make all of you guys kings.
But like, do they? Because they just keep getting stronger, no matter what their last at bat was. Like they go down swinging on 3 pitches, and people just keep showing up.
Yeah,
dude,
it's like a guilty pleasure. I can't stop watching that. And the My Pillow guy, I can't stop watching this dude. Like he has not been correct. Maybe once, but like he keeps fucking swinging, bro.
He makes a great pillow.
I slept on a My Pillow for the first time over Christmas. I might be in the market.
Separate the art from the artist.
I feel like, the My Pillow guy is a recovering addict, and I have great respect for people in recovery and everything. But this guy was chasing like a high so badly, he crafted a pillow that like was the best ever.
Changed the world.
It might be. It's a great pillow.
Like you can definitely make the argument after everything that he's done since making it. That pillow was so good that it changed the face of American politics.
Literally, the pillow was so like he had this hole in his dopamine receptors that was once filled by crack, and this pillow was the only thing that could hold it.
Yeah.
So think of how awesome that must be to sleep on.
Yeah, it's a great pillow.
This is not a native ad, by the way. I'm just saying what I've experienced.
No one's knocking the pillow.
So back to future.
I'm in the market for pillows though, but I refuse. Like, there's no way I can buy this dude's pillows. But I need a new pillow.
I would go to a Bed Bath & Beyond and try it out. I would
separate
try it out.
the art from the artist.
On it.
Fuck that dude.
Art from the artist,
guy.
dude. You're an art from the artist.
You're
guy.
literally funding his next documentary that even Fox News won't run.
No, 1,000 times. I don't think this nigga crafted the pillow, bro. Maybe he had some engineers. Maybe even if he did, I don't give a shit. I'm not funding that guy. Fuck that. Fuck his art.
So there was a couple of, I focused on H.G. Wells and Winston Churchill for my guys who made like insane predictions.
Talk to me about Winston Churchill, because I don't know much.
Winston Churchill was like, his brain was like, say what you want about the guy. The guy predicted he predicted World War I. He then predicted World War II. He predicted the Cold War, and then predicted stuff that he had nothing to do with, like lab grown meat, artificial insemination, breaking the atom. And also the biggest one was he predicted in 1921, he wrote about how there'd be a radical religious extremist terrorism. And he specifically, today it's kind of weird to sort of figure out how this inhabits, but basically predicted Islamic extremism and suicide bombing in 1921 before anyone had any idea. I'll read the exact passage.
Where was he predicting all of this? Like in speeches?
In the House of Commons, which is like Parliament, where he was serving. And some of his takes were so bad, it got him voted out of office. So like, for example, when he was predicting, he had a speech called the Iron Curtain speech in 1946, where he said basically, from Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent, basically saying we need to befriend the Germans because we need them in our war against Russia that's soon going to come. And basically he got voted out because everyone was like, we just got done with war with Germany. Why the hell would we embrace the Germans back into like a European Union? And one of the reasons why he got voted out. And he predicted like basically that Russia was going to become this second superpower that was going to be an access to the Western powers.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically described, in World War I, he had served in multiple theaters, be it the Boer War or other, English colonial conquests. And he said that the next time two major superpowers in Europe meet, it's going to be a war that we have never, ever imagined.
Because he saw some of the machine gunning that was going on in the Boer Wars. Yeah. And it's like, these are weapons that we have never seen. Right. And when you fight against them for the first time, people just get slaughtered because they don't know how to deal with the fact that they have a gun that can fire, 15 bullets a second.
This guy woke up drinking brandy. And if you've heard, Bert Kreischer's sort of Winston Churchill Day bit where he talks about just doing what Winston Churchill did regularly in a day, waking up, drinking a ton of brandy, smoking cigars, eating like a pig. Like this guy had a tortured mind and he just was dousing it with alcohol because he knew the future was coming somehow, like all these sort of predictions.
Well, that's why they voted him back in to take on Hitler because they saw Chamberlain. They're like, Hitler is so crazy and we have kind of a mild-mannered guy. We need to... You remember that insane person that we all thought was completely unfit for office? That's the only way that we're going to be able to counter Hitler's insanity is to bring Churchill in because we need to get into war mode, to borrow a phrase from Billy Football. And there was a great speech that he gave. I mean, Churchill had a lot, like his domestic views were pretty fucked up and really shitty for a lot of reasons, but he was what they needed at the time to fight against Hitler. I think he said in one speech right after they had defeated the German army, I think he said, they told me that if we fought on against the Germans, that England would have our necks wrung like a chicken. And then he pauses for like 5 seconds and he goes, some chicken, some neck. And then the whole place just goes fucking nuts. And he's like, all right, see you later. I'm out. I'm going to go drink a shitload of brandy and pass out in my bed now. And but sometimes you just need a crazy guy that's capable of whipping people into a frenzy.
I mean, he basically predicted the Iraq war before World War I, where he discussed that because we cannot rely on whales for coal in the modern war they need like oil. He said that we were going to become so dependent on oil from the Middle East that it's going to cause like a definite serious global conflict regarding that, basically predicting, you could argue, the invasion of Iraq.
It didn't take a genius, I don't think. Once the United States and England in particular got involved with just creating the state of Israel and also essentially getting into bed with the Saudis and saying, we're going to do two things simultaneously. One, we're going to create this nation of Israel. And two, we're also just going to be the personal bodyguards for the Islamic Republic of Saudi Arabia and defend all the oil over there and enter into a peace treaty with them that's going to last for the next 75 years and be their military too, as well as Israel's military. It didn't take really a genius to think that maybe those things would lead to a big explosion of violence in the Middle East. But he did that
now.
Yeah,
we say that now, but no one had any idea back then. Like, for example, this is
that's not true. Just saying, no one had any idea
into this electrical outlet. Like, I bet I get shocked. Like, is that a prediction or is that just like some shit you're gonna do?
Right, but like, listen to his speech in 1921 and
I'm not going to.
I'm gonna just read it right now. It's like in a speech of the House of Commons.
Real quickly, are you saying that? Go read the speech.
Right.
Go ahead.
In a speech to the House of Commons, he spoke of a militant Islam sect, the Wahhabis, more violent than any in history, which would kill their own sister for wearing the wrong attire. These fierce zealots would terrorize the West with bomb-carrying jihadists who would burn embassies and destroy buildings by their passions to sacrifice their lives for guarantee of Islam heaven. Winston Churchill II would read his grandfather's speech to President George W. Bush in the White House in 2007. I mean, that was in 1921. Like,
Yeah, propaganda was alive back then as well.
I know, but 80 years, like you gotta get that's more exact than Nostradamus.
Mm-hmm.
What is impressive about this to you? I'm curious.
Because it literally reads like what we saw 80 years later. The guy predicted tons of stuff.
What we're saying is like when you're at the root of the cause, it's pretty easy to see it coming.
Yeah, you think he was the only human being that thought that there was going to be war over natural resources that we were occupying?
He was very loud and in a position of power, though, which I think makes him a little bit different. At least he was saying it when a lot of people that had the power to say something weren't.
Another here's some low key stuff he predicted that like he predicted the onesie would be invented.
Okay, now we're talking.
What? I'm shocked it didn't exist.
He said, "No, hold on, there was no onesies."
Yeah, so back in the before World War II, he said that they need to create the onesie. So remember, who is it wearing those? You know the ones that with the thing in the back,
Snuggie,
the flaps, yeah, the ass flap.
Yeah, they're like he conceived of the one-piece garment as a leisure suit, but it also proved useful for on the way to and in air raid shelters. Solve the problem of warmth and propriety when seeking shelter during nighttime air raids. He was like,
we invented Under Armour.
Yeah, we need to create full body suits.
So I searched Winston Churchill onesie, and he loved wearing him a onesie. Like he would wear suits that were just one with a zipper.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some people say, "Keep calm, carry on." He said, "We must protect this house." He said, "Click clack," walking around the streets of London.
He also predicted hydroponic grows. In a gigantic new resource of power becoming available, food will be produced without recourse to sunlight. Vast cellars in which artificial radiation is generated may replace the cornfields or potato patches of the world.
I really think he's just piggybacking off of the scientists of the day. Like it doesn't sound like he's.
Well, someone had to say it.
I mean, right? I think they were. I think they were saying it. I think he was just like, yeah, that probably gonna happen.
You think it's a Shakespeare like echoing? I
don't know enough about Shakespeare to. I don't know enough.
He just told things, and he was like, "Yeah, it sounds good."
like one, for example, is like Nikola Tesla. Like that was because like the science of the day like predicts like what's gonna like. It's literally what science is based on is prediction, right? And so like Tesla literally predicted smartphones. He literally predicted smartphones. He was like you'll be able to talk on a phone that you could fit in your pocket. Like he was, because he understood the laws of science and what was capable and what was not capable. So I think that's what Churchill was doing. I think he was, and that's not a slight, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know enough about Winston Churchill, but I think you're really impressed by my guy.
Well, he like lab grown meat. Like he said that one day we shall escape the absurdity of growing whole chicken in order to eat the breast or wing by growing these parts separately under a suitable medium. And also like he talked about artificial conception, like artificial wombs growing children outside of a human.
I mean, it sounds like Churchill, regardless of who his sources were and what he was passing on, he did a pretty good job. I'd say that's a better track record on futurism that I would have expected from Winston Churchill.
Like breaking an atom. He talked about
go into that one. Go into that one. I'm interested in that one.
So he said, if the hydrogen atoms in a pound of water could be prevailed upon to combine together and form helium, they would suffice to drive 1,000 horsepower engine for a whole year. If the electrons, those tiny pellets of the atomic systems, were induced to combine with the nuclei, and the hydrogen of the horsepower liberated would be 120 times greater still. Basically, he sort of talked about how nuclear power might become main place in the next coming years.
Yeah, I think he was like a big science fan, which is dope.
You know, he isn't the best guy. He talked about how he'd want to use this power to move Ireland into the middle of the Atlantic and get it farther away from England. I mean,
shit! You finally sold me, and then he had this fucking Dr. Evil.
Oh, I mean, he was crazy racist. Not even just 100%. Against you, super racist. But even as someone who doesn't love England, like that's very funny.
Yeah. But anyway, like also like H.G. Wells, he predicted how messages would be one day sent instantly through like text or emails. I mean, all these futurists,
if they had blasted Ireland and it was like next to Barbados and we just had a bunch of actual Chet Hankses walking around, like that'd be very funny.
Bro, hell no.
Well, I actually saw a YouTube video recently. There is a island in the Caribbean that has a bunch of they all have Irish accents, and they're like Afro-Caribbean type people, but they speak in Irish dialect.
Like Collie Buds, like what?
Let me find it. Let me find it.
I haven't heard that name in a minute.
No, it's only his name was close enough to first name was close enough to mine where I was just like, what's going on here?
Montserrat Irish accents in the Caribbean. So in the Irish of Montserrat, West Indies, where they're just like black guys with Irish accents, because that's
Colonization.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Well, no, it was a mixture of indentured servitudes and African slaves put on one island, and then developing just Irish speaking. It's kind of like when you watch the video, you sort of get a better vibe of what I'm saying.
I like how even when you're comparing two types of slaves, still the white people get better name. Like the Irish were indentured. No, not from you. I'm not saying that was you. That's just like what it is. Like whites were indentured servants and the blacks were slaves. Like that's like why even at that level we're still separating them. Like what?
Funny.
I'm gonna be right back. I gotta pee. Continue the conversation.
Yes. There's a part of if we're talking. I didn't fully understand we were talking about either correct or failed called shots, but it's right after the new year. We were talking about science being so predicative. Y2K, you talk about all-time swing and a miss.
Fucking dud, bro. Holy shit.
Y'all got to explain this to me. I understand the very basic premise was that we thought the computers were just going to like think it was 1900 and then like why would that? Okay, I have two questions. Number one, can you give me a little bit more detail on what like the problem was going to be? Number two, why would that have mattered?
It shows you how far we've come with our basic understanding of what computers are. But these were like the people who were in charge of the computers were like, yeah, we're not 1,000% sure we've programmed these things to count to 2,000. So it was like we were basically told like planes were going to drop from the sky. Our all of our computers were going to like turn on us. Like it was, my father filled the bathtub with water in case like society fell and we would need to boil drinking water for a few, like people were buying up all sorts of canned food. People were building bunkers under their homes in their backyards, buying guns. It was, and Arian's a little older than me, so maybe he remembers some parts. I don't. It was like they told us at Best Buy Circuit City, which isn't around anymore, like there were signs that were like, hey, shut off your computer before midnight. Like it, just in case, like unplug some stuff. We were told it was the end times. Like the countdown was going to hit 0 and shit was going to go. I don't know I don't even know if there were planes flying. If there were, it feels like a pretty big risk given what we were told. Maybe PFT can elaborate a little bit more because he was there as well.
Will you give us your insight on Y2K and what it actually like meant? Because we were all too young to know.
It was fun.
So most people who are futurists, I think, are doing one of two things. One, are successful futurists. One, they're trying to scare somebody, and so their predictions will get spread around way faster if you can make people afraid of what you're saying is going to happen. And then usually they're also trying to sell something that only they can fix that fear that they're putting in you. I guess they're just good salespeople. But in Y2K, the fear, and it was a great fear that people got to spread around the world because it affected literally everybody in every facet of their life. They were just telling you when the year turns over to January 1st, 2000, nothing in your life is going to work anymore. Nothing. Planes won't fly. Lights won't turn on. You won't be able to flush your toilet. You can't shit anymore.
I just don't get why that had.
Because when all the software was programmed for all these utilities and all the things that we use on a day-to-day basis, when they
Roads, lights, banking systems, government operations, like it was all tied to that.
Yeah, when they were entering in the dates, all the programming language was configured to have 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the date, and then 2 digits for the year. So everything like 99, it doesn't get any higher than 99. Once it turns over 2000 and those last 2 digits are 00, everything is going to think that it's the day January 1st, 1900.
But why does that matter?
So there actually was a couple minor inconveniences that I found.
Okay.
So, for example, a customer at a New York State video rental store had a bill for $91,250, the cost of renting the movie The General's Daughter for 100 years. There were little things that happened, like payroll software at Berlin's German opera denied certain employees government mandated subsidies for families with children. When year 2000 arrived, the computer date was 1900. This caused the persons born in 1995 to appear 95 years old, making the parents ineligible for the government subsidy. Like weird things that were all correct.
That's not even how years work. Like, why
I
would you
know.
go from 5 to 9? You'd be negative 90 years old.
And most of the software glitches were resulted in an attempted last-second fix done in haste, and that caused massive delays in air transportation all over the East Coast of the United States. So most of the things that happened were because people trying to correct the bug and then just messing up the original code.
Right, a bug that didn't exist. They were trying to combat a problem that didn't. Like,
Brady,
my
it was
biggest
human
question.
mistakes.
Yes, correct. My biggest question too is like, what midnight were we basing this off of? Like, there's 24 of those things. Like, I believe the Eastern Standard Time to be the time of kings, but like to say that like the West Coast is going to fuck around at 9 p.m. their time, like none of it made any fucking sense. It was very funny.
You
very
love
funny.
Eastern time?
I love Eastern Standard Time.
Why?
I love being
It's
the
the only
time I've
first
ever lived
in the
in.
country.
Absolute trash.
No,
Absolute trash.
Central time is God's time.
They literally
Central's not bad.
everything is made around Eastern Standard
Correct,
Time.
but like for sports,
not true.
it's the worst.
Why?
That's what.
I
no,
love it.
West Coast is the worst for
No, you,
sports.
no, you
Oh.
don't. No, you don't love. You don't love the last of a doubleheader getting done at 1 a.m. You don't
Oh,
love that shit.
college
That's what my
basketball
whole
games
life.
start at
And I've
9
never gone to
p.m.
bed even before sports before 3, so it's great for me.
Oh, that's the worst.
I think that Big T is absolutely 100% correct. Central time zone for sports is the best.
Central's
Why?
good.
Because
Because
it's just that extra hour
Yeah.
that you get is perfect.
if it's too early, if you're on the West Coast and the games in terms of football, like NFL Sunday starts at 10 o'clock, that's way too early. I've spent some time on the West Coast.
That's pretty sweet though. That's pretty sweet though.
It's too early, especially if you're like in your 20s and you went out the night before. You missed the first half of every single game. If you're anything like me,
and if you like
It
soccer, you're completely screwed. You don't get to see anything.
that's
I don't
true.
even know what channel soccer's on. What
NBC.
I've never watched a soccer game, dog.
But yeah, it's I think Central time zone is the best. Games start at noon. They're not over after midnight. That's always nice.
And then for like basketball and hockey and stuff, it gets over at 10:45 instead of midnight.
Yep.
I don't know. That's what I like about the West Coast is like you can watch all the games and you still have a day. You know what I mean? Like you can still go do shit. Like you can go chill with your people.
My
Like,
argument is people on the West Coast don't really even watch sports like that compared to the East Coast.
well, yeah, y'all are probably more die hard.
We have winter, so we have to pass the time with something.
That's facts. That's facts.
But I
Niggas
don't
out there
know. Like
eating brunch rather than rooting for teams.
anytime, and I don't care about award shows, but they're the first thing that's coming to mind. Anytime they're live here and then they wait 3 hours to play it on the West Coast, like that rules out the entire West Coast for me for time zone debate.
That's fair.
Also, it's just strange going out to bars on the West Coast and there's no sports on TV.
Right? Yeah, it's trash.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, every time we go out there, me and Big Cat will go out for dinner, go out to like a sports bar,
And there's just
and
like
we'll be
TV
like,
on.
what are we supposed to do? Like talk to each other? There's no sports on. What are we going to talk about?
Just Stephen A. Smith on in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
just-
like Scott Van Pelt.
yeah, sometimes you'll get the rerun of a game that happened at a normal time. And you're like, oh, this game's happening right now at MSG. And it's like, no, that game's been over for 3 hours and they're replaying it a second time.
Yeah, TNT likes to, after they end their post-game coverage for the late game, they'll just go right into the 8 p.m. game again. And it's just like, all right, sure.
every year, the Final Four, the national championship game starts at like 9:30 Eastern. And I'm like, what? I've said forever. I used to say two things. I would vote for any presidential candidate who would legalize sports betting. That's happened. So now that's out. The other one was anyone who would, on day one, sign an executive order saying no sporting event can start after 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you choose to live somewhere else, that's on you. But we're not doing this shit anymore. I've added a third now, and it's anyone who will go back to plastic straws. I hope the environment's here forever. I love it. This paper straw nonsense is getting out of hand. I can't take it anymore. I'd vote for Bernie Sanders if he said we're outlawing paper straws. In a heartbeat.
He wouldn't be doing that.
No, but he might, only because he would attack the actual people who are killing the environment and not hiding behind straws, as if that's making any marginal impact one way or the other.
It's a small impact, but yeah.
What if he just said, Big T, you get to use plastic straws? I'm going to get you set up with a straw guy.
I'm sick of it. I can't handle it anymore. You go in there and you go to like open it, and then you hear the little thing that it kills me.
So you're doing straw mandates now. Everyone has to do.
Not everyone has to. Not everyone. If you want to offer paper straws in addition to plastic straws, that's fine.
But everyone has to carry plastic straws.
Correct.
That's a mandate.
Buddy, I have to show a QR code to go into a bar now. We're past that. We're past that. That expires, by the way, on May 14th, so that they can mandate you to get the booster, which was the plan all along. That's part of my future predictions. We'll get into that.
You have to show more to get into a bar than to vote.
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
I was told requiring ID was racist, but not to go into a bar.
Shouldn't you? Yeah, it should be pretty easy to vote, though, right?
There should be some sort of measure in place to make sure we know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now,
just like to make sure everyone's safe and vaccinated. If you want to go into a restaurant, we need some sort of measure in place.
All right.
We have always had measures in place to go into restaurants.
No shirts, no shoes, no service.
Right.
Yeah, but they're not asking you to prove that you're vaccinated and who you say you are.
You had to prove you had a shirt and shoes.
Correct, but they don't ask you for an ID to prove that.
No.
You don't need
vote
one.
without a shirt.
You're either for private enterprise or not. Big T.
Billy asked a good question.
No. One is the no shirt thing. That's fine. That's a private business. The vaccine thing is the government. No. It's the government.
That's not government. It don't matter. It's the private businesses institution that they have a rule. If you don't like the rule,
no. One is private. One is not. One is by definition inherently not private. It's the government.
So what Big T's saying is that, like in New York, the government tells businesses that you have to do this.
That's not the same.
Oh,
yeah. Twitter can kick somebody off if they want to. That's fine. That's their rules. That's not the same as like free speech.
I do feel bad though for anybody that's working in a restaurant that they don't want to have to be dealing with this shit. Like you're not in the business of checking people's vaccines. You got into the business to make money, or because maybe a combination of you also like serving people at restaurants and helping them out, being bartenders, and so they don't get into that line of work to want to check. Same thing with teachers having to enforce the mask thing. And I understand there's evolving science about like whether or not it's transmissible in a classroom and kids, and whether or not like how dangerous that can be. But teachers don't want to be the mask police. That's not what they signed up to do. They're sick of this shit too.
Oh, I got two sisters and my girl a teacher, so they're sick. They're all.
Yeah,
but they be mad because they forcing kids to go back in schools. And like my sister's like deathly afraid of getting the shit, and so she's just kind of over it.
Yep. Another big example of futurism, by the way, that absolutely, in retrospect, seemed like it's one of the most prescient articles that came out after 9/11 was Hunter S. Thompson in ESPN, the magazine. So he wrote...
that was page 2.
Yeah, page 2. You're right. Page 2. And I think it came out just a couple of days after the 9/11 attacks. Basically laid out exactly what was about to happen over the course of the next 20 years.
I think it was the 12th. Like, I think it was 9/12 was when I think he put this out. Like, he was fucking Johnny on the spot with this.
I'm on it. It doesn't have a date on it, but it still looks like it was, like, the website still looks like it's from 2001. I can't find the date.
It was definitely from the weeks following, if not the days following the actual attack. He said, "This is going to be a very expensive war, and victory is not guaranteed for anyone, and certainly not for anyone as baffled as George W. Bush. All he knows is that his father started the war a long time ago, and that he, the goofy child president, has been chosen by fate and the global oil industry to finish it now. He will declare a national security emergency and clamp down hard on everybody, no matter where they live or why. If the guilty won't hold up their hands and confess, he and the generals will ferret them out by force. Good luck, he is in for a profoundly difficult job. Armed as he is with no credible military intelligence, no witnesses, and only the ghost of bin Laden to blame for the tragedy. Okay, it is 24 hours later now, and we're not getting much information about the 5 W's of the thing. The numbers at the Pentagon are baffling, as if military censorship has already been imposed on the media. It is ominous. The only news on TV comes from weeping victims and ignorant speculators. And there was one other point in here where he said who we're going to attack, and I'm not finding it right now, but he said we're going to punish somebody for this attack, but just who or what will be blown to smithereens, it is hard to say. Maybe Afghanistan, maybe Pakistan or Iraq, or possibly all 3 at once. Pretty good job looking into the future on that one. But I guess some of the more fun examples of futurism right now are done by people in the tech industry who, like I alluded to earlier, are doing a lot of it just because they have something to sell for the future. So you hear people just like pointing at, this is the future, that's the future, this is the future. It's usually someone trying to get you to spend money on something. And 99% of those predictions are going to be wrong. But some people make it their entire career to just think about what the future is going to be. I feel like we should dip our toes in that water a little bit and make some predictions of our own about the future. Looking forward from here, as it is the first week of January 2022. Let's go around the room. Let's do 1 year predictions. Let's start off with that. So, Billy, you want to get us cooked?
So it's 2023. What do I think is going to happen in the next year?
Yep. This date, 2023.
3 more boosters. No, that was a joke.
Not really.
I mean, he's probably right.
Yeah. I think we're going to
Taking every one.
I think we're going to be back. This one's hard. I have a 10-year.
Okay.
I said, fuck your 1 year, bro.
Let's do your 10 year.
The 1 year is
just say who's going to win the Super Bowl, Billy. Who's going to be the reigning Super Bowl champion?
I think.
What coach is going to be fired next year on this date?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Honestly, no one from any of the bad teams, because they're all like, I don't think Dan Campbell's fired. I don't think Robert Saleh's fired either.
Okay. Kevin Stefanski. How about that? Goes from coach of the year this year. I saw somebody say that Kevin Stefanski was going to be on the hot seat after the performance this year. I think that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. Like, he's got the Browns competing week in, week out on a pretty decent basis for the Browns. He's built a good team there. But if they go like way off the deep end next year, like if they go 4-13,
but they might be first year quarterback next year too.
Yep.
So that buys them some time as well.
For sure. So Billy, give me one coach.
Stefanski.
Or who does Baker Mayfield play next year?
He said Stefanski.
Stefanski.
I saw a rumor today that the Washington football team should
the 9th pick.
Yeah, trade the 9th pick for Baker Mayfield. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do it. I like Baker.
You guys have just as bad a quarterback history as the Browns do. You absolutely should.
I've reached such a point of nihilism with this team where I'm just like, fuck it. That sounds fun. That's what I'm basing all my future decisions off. That's why I like Taylor Heineke, because he was fun. He sucked sometimes, but other times he was all right. But you never knew what was going to happen. He's like quarterback meth. And so I at least appreciate the entertainment value that came from him.
Matt Ryan for Baker Mayfield and a 2nd round pick. Who says no?
The Falcons.
Why?
Because Matt Ryan
moving a shit ton of money.
Not even just money. It's the dead cap would like paralyze you guys. Like, you're stuck with Matt Ryan, friend. Him and his
I think it was after this year, like, it becomes feasible.
because I saw someone talking about it today or yesterday rather. I think it's next year. Like, okay. It's still a lot of dead cap. Like, the NFL salary, I fucking hate it. Like, there should be dead cap shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure I still don't. I follow football extremely closely, and I still understand maybe 10% of that.
Right? It's absurd. It's patently absurd. It's like we were last year. We couldn't do shit because Tom signed with the Bucks. Like, he was a fucking free agent. What do you mean we have no money because he
Right.
signed with like, it's so fucking stupid.
All right, so Billy, give me your 10 year.
Let me give you a real 1 year. In the next year, through a combination of herd immunity and boosters, the vaccine, we see a much more lax COVID. That's more like the flu, less harmful. A lot of like what the flu has done since 1918. And we sort of go back to normal. That's a very
All right, let's go. Billy
I
just
think-
ended COVID.
Let me give you my 1 year then. I think we're going into more lockdowns that are far more restrictive in the next. I think that'll happen very soon. The next 60 to 90
Dude,
days.
we have guns. We're not Australia.
And then I also think the third vaccine will become mandatory to be considered fully vaccinated, if not a fourth. So like my New York State COVID, your little app you have, it has an expiration date of May 14th on it that's been there since the beginning. This was the plan all along. They were never stopping it too.
I'm just saying.
So what happens at the expiration date?
You got to go get a new one, and in order to get that new one, you will have to get a third vaccine to get it, or you won't be considered fully vaccinated.
I think once we see the death rates of Omicron, like because we see it 4 weeks after it happened, and let's say it's going to peak, let's say in next weekend, I think everyone who celebrated New Year's Eve is going to contract a bulk of Omicron. A bunch of the kids who went to SantaCon contracted it like the week after, running up to Christmas. And then we're going to see a wider view by the end of January or mid-February, like what truly is the death rate is with Omicron. And we'll sort of proceed on that data. And then hopefully, it all gets better. But what do I know?
All right. Coley, give me your 1 year.
I don't know. I do disagree with Big T saying we're going back into lockdown. I just see so many people pushing against it. Whether or not it's right or wrong, I have no idea. But I feel like there's so little support for it. I just can't imagine it actually happening. Even it sounded like while you were saying it, it sounded very they're coming to take our guns. Like that's in my mind. That's what it sounded like.
Well, they've already done it once, and they did a half-ass job of it.
They did. Right. They did a half. People across the board at every level, not even in government, humanity did a half-ass job. And that's kind of why I don't see it ever happening again.
Well, but that's a reason. Kind of like you said with the first-year quarterback thing. They're like, oh, well, we realized we messed up the first time, so you got to give us more time to get it right. We're going to do it right this time.
Yeah, I don't think they have any pull to pull that off. You know what I mean? Like
I think on one side that idea is extremely popular.
I don't think so.
I'm on that side. I'm telling you it's not.
I saw a tweet today that had Lord knows how many retweets. It said like, oh, don't worry, we're not going back into lockdown. We're just going to normalize dying of COVID like we've normalized dying from gun violence and listed 8 other things.
You know what the number
We're
one killer?
long past that, yeah.
18 to 45, the number one killer was for Americans?
Probably
Opioids.
heart disease.
Opioids,
Mhm.
which went up drastically. So
Probably.
I did a bunch of reports on the opioid crisis when I was in college, which was like right before the pandemic hit, and they were steadily declining overdoses until the pandemic hit and all the lockdowns and restrictions happened, and they skyrocketed. So I mean, when you're thinking about how many like if you compare the numbers, like how many people were losing, like are we even considering the numbers that are going up from the lockdowns? Like if we
Are we
have
considering
100
like the backlash that came from
like
that?
if let's say we have 100 people dying of opioid overdoses who might have not ages 18 to 45, and we have 100 people that we save from dying of COVID, are we balancing out like the total deaths?
Are those deaths going up because of the lockdowns though, or are they going up because fentanyl is being introduced into like,
Right.
Well,
the off-market pills that are being sold?
but that was happening way before the pandemic.
I feel like fentanyl has
Right, but were they
more to do with
producing
it.
more, especially since we withdrew from Afghanistan? Are they producing more with fentanyl
Well,
backing, like you're saying?
All the opioids in Afghanistan don't go to the U.S. They all go to Europe. They
don't all go to Europe.
10% of heroin.
Right, and I'm not talking about just the pure opioids, but what they use to produce them can also get shipped to Canada.
Fentanyl comes from China.
Right, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fake opioids.
We're saying that fentanyl has a lot to do with most of the overdoses, or not. Maybe not most, but certainly a shitload of them.
Fentanyl was here way before.
No one's disagreeing with that. They use it in hospitals. Like
Right.
fentanyl's been around, but
No,
what I'm saying is because opioids availability has gone down, and because heroin's availability has gone down, people turn to whatever they can get, which could be fentanyl laced.
Right, but that was what was causing the spike before the pandemic.
Sure,
the pandemic 100% caused the spike. If you look,
like
at
you can't. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. We were saying reasons why it could have also attributed to that. And not being able to buy heroin, which has been reported on, it is very hard to find, which a lot of people do turn to get off of opioids or to use after they can't get opioids. It's harder to get, which can turn you to something that can be fentanyl laced, which was not a problem prior to us withdrawing from Afghanistan.
But also during the lockdowns and everything, a lot of people weren't getting treatment. They weren't going to pick up their
1,000%.
Yeah, so it compounded the problem. So
right, yeah, we were saying there's more than one factor at play.
Right, but there is the idea, like, let's say we didn't do anything, who would it really have, are we just shifting around where
younger people are going to die?
Yeah, there is the argument, like, we have younger people who are
it's a false equivalence, because it's not, opioid epidemics aren't contagious. Like, it's a false, like, to mitigate a risk of a contagious disease, like what we should be doing is dealing with mental health in a very real way, but we're never going to do that. So you don't have a choice. You just don't have a choice, in my opinion.
I just want to know if the results of like suicide and overdose that went up during the pandemic, and this is a question, was it incremental to how many lives we saved doing all the lockdowns and restriction on business, on people's livelihoods?
I think what you're saying, I could be wrong, but I think what you're saying is, yeah, people died, but the other people died, and you're saying you would rather the younger people not die than the older people. Is that what you're saying?
Well, did we kill the right people? This is
this is decisions that I shouldn't have to consider. Politicians should consider this.
There's a lot of people who failed, for sure. A lot of people who failed.
Like when you look,
they were given a pop quiz, no one was ready for it.
Yeah, like when you're mitigating what the larger impact on society as a whole, like what exactly is the greater loss? So,
I think we can unequivocally say COVID had the greater impact on society than opioids.
But how
so far?
Self-inflicted.
Arian, 1 year prediction.
Just about anything?
Anything.
Man, I think the Democrats about to get steamrolled. That's my prediction.
Agreed.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah,
I think you're probably right, because they did a pretty good job for themselves. They obviously won the White House, but they were running as we're not Donald Trump. And it's tougher to run on the platform of we're not Donald Trump when Donald Trump's not in office anymore. And so you have to have, this is something the fucking Democrats go through this every 4 years, and they always keep forgetting, which is you have to stand for something. You have to give people something that you promised that you were going to deliver on. And if you don't, the backlash is going to be way, way, way worse than you ever thought that it could be. So I kind of agree with Aaron. I feel like, as Big T's going to love this, I think that there will be a red wave next year.
I don't even think that's it is certainly a prediction, like the opposite could happen, but like there's polling that shows that's going to happen. Like near,
man.
I mean,
what you wanted to
no.
No,
I wasn't saying that as a slight against you in any way. It is certainly a prediction, as our polls are a prediction, but like that's going to happen.
Can we do 10 years? Because I think those are a little more fun.
Yeah. Wait, do you have one?
A 10 year?
A 1 year.
I gave it. The lockdowns.
Mad Dog, do you have a 1?
And third vaccine.
My 1 year is just that I think that Elizabeth Holmes is going to get off, and that she's going to start another company, and everyone's going to get back into, wait, you know what? She learned from her mistakes the first time around, and Theranos 2 is actually going to work. I think we'll be right back there, in about December of next year, her image will have been like completely rehabilitated. And they'll probably even slap on like, it was actually misogynistic that we blamed all of Theranos on Elizabeth Holmes. Let's hear what she has to say.
I'll counter that kind of in terms of women with bad reputations. Ghislaine Maxwell will be dead.
Okay.
I think that's...
No, she's not. Her brother said she's not ratting anyone out. He said that very emboldenedly. Like,
no, but I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, or she gets killed in jail. Yeah. By like.
I like that prediction. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm enjoying that one.
What sucks is that what's happened. Nothing else is gonna come out because the trial's over.
I have quick question, quick side about the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Why did the evidence get sealed?
Because it's
just like
investigation.
Is that normal or is that?
Yeah, it didn't pertain.
They weren't putting all the Johns and all the people that were associated with it on trial. It was a trial specifically of Ghislaine Maxwell and what she did and what she didn't do. And so the way that our judicial system's set up is anything that's not directly relevant to the crimes that she committed that they feel like they can prove
goes away.
They don't have to like release those. They can seal all those. But
they know.
I think, yes, for sure, a lot of people know what was going on and no names, but because of the very narrow scope of the charges that they filed, because if you're a prosecutor, you filed charges against Ghislaine because you knew that you had to put her away on something. She was like public enemy number one. You have to be able to prove something. What can you do? So they just went at a very narrow scope on very specific things that they knew that they could be successful with. And everything else, as much as it would be a public benefit, I think, to everyone knowing all the shit that went down.
Right.
Since it's not part of that investigation, they're not going to release it. They're unable to release it.
So will they never come out ever?
Probably not.
We'll see, unless there's some leakers, unless there's some whistleblowers.
Yeah. And, she could have done the thing where she says, okay, I want to reduce my sentence. I will give you this.
I'll give you names.
Yeah, but she didn't do that.
It'd be sick if she just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to do a sit down.
60 minutes.
60 minutes. Yeah, just come into my jail cell and we'll do a one-on-one. I'll name all the names.
I'll literally just name a list.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the goal is just hope that she gets bored enough in prison where she'll just, she'll take an interview with anybody just so that she can talk to somebody.
I saw a tweet that people think that her team is going to declare mistrial because they say it was rushed due to COVID.
Can we do the happy 10 to 30 year one?
Yeah, we're all super, super rich in 10 years.
Yeah. All right, 10 years.
Yes.
Billy and I have really good credit scores.
Yes. There we go.
My fucking credit score went down 40 points and I've been paying them all off. I don't fucking get it.
Is Ben Mintz stealing your outbound checks?
He might be. Ben,
Bill, let me take this to the post office for you.
Yeah. Anyway, Ben uses my Wi-Fi. It's fine. He walks my dog.
Yeah, so you share an IP address with Ben. So whatever activities Ben Mentz is up to, that points directly at you, Billy.
All your CIA agencies is Billy's deep web dives and then Ben Mentz Googling fish tour dates. Like it's very much in lockstep with one another.
The guy shows up, someone is using this IP address for online poker and owes $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a you. No, I think that the outcomes of the pandemic, there will actually be a lot of progress and a lot of stuff that's good for the environment, that's good for the economy, that you have a lot of people, like we talked about the other day about employment, moving employment, taking, different chances, allowing the flexibility to, make choices during the pandemic to be a little more, transition to other things. And also one big thing I think is housing. Like look at Coley. Coley lives in Maine. He works remotely. Like, I think we're going to have a lot of that where different economies that were once shut down by population leaving because there was no work are now going to be places where people move because they know they can work remotely. Mm-hmm. So you may see places like, Detroit, like that aren't major population hubs, like places that had a lot of people leave because of jobs leaving might get repopulated. Like, people are moving to South Carolina, even though it's in the middle of the pandemic because they can work remote and it's a nicer place to live. Like one day, I might be living on a ranch in Montana, blogging, podcasting, chilling with a bunch of animals out there, but still reporting to a home base in New York and paying Montana taxes.
Are Montana taxes really good?
Oh, you pay double taxes, friend.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah.
They got changed.
So do you pay? So do you pay New York and Maine taxes?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It's awesome.
I feel like every city used to be built up around where there was a river. That was the first thing that we used to look for back in the day.
Harbors, safe harbors.
Yeah. Is there either a river, an ocean, or a lake that's big enough where I have to ship things across it? And that's kind of where we decided that we would build our cities. And now you can move to somewhere that doesn't have any water at all.
Yeah, New York had the dopest harbor.
Yeah.
New York City had the dopest harbor in the world in the most least weather intensive place before the Atlantic heated up and all the hurricanes started hitting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why New York became such a bustling metropolis of trade.
There's been something going viral recently where it's we don't build any futuristic cities anymore. And people are like, why don't we just take Nebraska and put a futuristic Japanese city basically in the middle of just build something fucking cool and just have people move there. Why not?
Yeah.
Just make life cooler.
That's what they did with Vegas. Vegas was not a place at all. There was one train stop, and then some people built some whorehouses.
Really?
That were close by.
The Hoover Dam.
Well, even before the Hoover Dam, it was just a train stop.
Really?
And then once there started to be more money flowing into the area, there was the Hoover Dam was one of the biggest instigators of it. But there would be people that were working during the day. They'd want to go out of town a little bit and see some girls, see some live music, or get drunk in a bar, play some cards. And then a couple places sprung up, and then somebody was like, you know what? We should just turn this into a destination city. We should just make this a place that everyone. There's nothing stopping from someone just starting a random ass town in the middle of Nebraska.
I actually wrote a blog about this. I don't know if it ever got published, but there's a billionaire who started diapers.com. Do you remember this, Coley?
I keep saying it.
I don't think I posted it. He is working with a bunch of companies to basically make a startup city where you can apply to join, and then you get a certain amount of ownership of the land. It has several they're trying to create a perfect socialist kind of communist city. It's more collectivist where you own part of the city, so that by just existing there, paying taxes, you then get dividends back.
There's no private property in a communist society.
So it's probably not exactly
so it's more collectivist.
But let me bring it up because it would be perfect to talk about. But he's the founder of diapers.com. That got bought by Amazon. He's the one spearheading it. He's this billionaire.
Sounds like a guy that loves cocaine.
Yeah.
He's got a shitload of money. He's like, you know what? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a city. I'm going to start a city, and then everyone's going to come live in the city, and they're all going to own part of the city, and everyone's going to love it because everything that I make, they make.
This is also that was a good cocaine rant. Not your first. I wanted to ask this during when we had the Maxwell podcast on. If you have I guess it's a weird question, but it's at what point can you make your own laws? What was stopping Little St. James from having its own laws? Then laws to make legal a lot of the things that they were doing.
Whoever has the monopoly on violence, whatever. So Elon Musk once said this, that the only difference between governments and corporations is that governments have the monopoly of violence in the locations they claim.
Sure, but it's small, and I agree with what you're saying, but it's so small to the point where who's going to go in there and declare that it wasn't its own independent, you know what I mean? Who was wanted it? Were we going to send one naval ship and just point a gun at it perpetually? Was that something we were going to do? I don't think so.
That's how it happens. Yeah.
No, I know that's how it happens, but you got to remember, a rich white guy doing it. So you would think there would be some bending of some eyes looking the other way, perhaps.
There's international laws though, isn't there? With the
international waters.
Yeah.
But in other countries, I mean, there are younger ages that are allowed and shit like that. I'm not looking for a loophole or anything like that, but it was something that popped up in my head. I don't have island buying money yet. It was something that popped up in my head. Like, well, could he have argued that? Like, my island, my laws, pal. Like, what do you want from me?
There is. Speaking of the Maxwell thing, there's one development that's happened in the last 24 hours where Prince Andrew, you remember Prince Andrew, he was one of the people that was alleged to have gone to this island, and Virginia Giuffre, I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. She was the one that made the accusation towards him that he sexually assaulted her, and that at one point he was dancing all over and just covered her in sweat. And his rebuttal to that was, actually, I'm physically unable to sweat because of my PTSD that I have, which is a claim
from the Falkland Wars.
From the Falkland Wars, yeah, which is a claim that many sweatologists have debated. I don't think we have a clear picture yet of whether or not Prince Andrew can sweat, but in the trial that's going to take place in 2022, they're starting to do discovery, and they're getting all their ducks in a row from a legal standpoint. And her legal defense team has now filed lawsuits against him, and they want to have all the information behind his medical diagnosis claiming that he can't sweat. They're asking him to prove that he is unable to sweat. And I'm very much looking forward to how this resolves itself. If they like put him in a sauna, there's just like somebody next to him.
Put him on a treadmill.
Checklist. Yeah, exactly. Treadmill. No, I mean like sauna.
You do it in a cold room. Fuck around, don't sweat.
But did you hear the part where he said that at the time, that was his claim, that at the time,
he got better.
There's only one thing I can like weigh, because I was thinking about it, like, how the hell can you not sweat? Hypothetically, maybe he gets like, it's connected to PTSD. Hypothetically, let's say he gets like super sweaty when he's in different situations because he's nervous, and then got Botox in his armpits because he was embarrassed about how sweaty he gets. Because people do that. People get Botox in their armpits.
Heidelberg claims he can't sweat.
Does he have Botox?
No, he said his whole life he's never sweat.
Who?
One of the guys we work with. He's an idiot, so I don't believe him. But
this sounds like a bunch of cap. How do you not sweat?
He's the only other person I've heard make the claim that he's unable to sweat.
Brandon Walker says he doesn't really sweat, and so he just gets really, really overheated and then like passes out because his body can't regulate his temperature.
I feel like I've seen that guy sweaty before.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like he just has an aversion to exercise. Like my
I've
body
seen him
shuts down.
Plenty of times on the dozen. That guy.
Stop it, Coley. Stop it.
I'm a sweaty guy. I get very sweaty. I'll just put that out there.
Do you have hyperhidrosis, or are you just sweaty?
I just used to get so much shit in middle school when I'd go out to play basketball or
like,
something.
do your hands get clammy?
No. I just come back drenched in sweat. And
Are you like one of them stinky, like you funky?
It was always fresh sweat.
Okay. What does that mean?
That it would stink by like 3:00 when it was time to leave school.
You got out of there just in time.
Nah, man, it stunk the whole time.
There was a time before deodorant was allowed, and when you had recess where you were exercise, like a 10-year-old putting on deodorant. Like,
that just didn't happen.
It wasn't like illegal. You just didn't have it.
Yeah. When was deodorant not allowed? I
don't know. Like, what age do you start wearing deodorant?
Like
when you start sweating.
Early middle school.
I think
like 12, 13.
I think Billy was an early sweater.
I think it was an early sweater.
Yeah.
Were you not sweaty as a kid? Like, I feel like I sweat as a kid.
Yeah, but kids, when they sweat, don't smell. It's like at a certain point you become smelly.
I think kids always smell, but then they grow out of the point where they're kids. So they no longer have the kid smell. So the sweat smell becomes more noticeable.
Kids sweat smells like nickels. It's the grossest smell in the world. They smell like
I was about to say, y'all don't got no kids. Kids fucking stink. What are you talking about?
They just smell like coins. It's disgusting. I don't know why there's so much metal.
I can't vouch for the coin.
I used to pick up my brother when he was little from like sports practices, and he would get in my car and it would literally smell like I was at a Coinstar. And it's the grossest smell in the world. And I don't know why you'd smell like that.
I don't know why you're putting that on all whites. That was your brother.
Not all white. I didn't say all white people. Just like little kids.
Anybody else have a 10-year prediction?
I think that another celebrity is going to be president. I don't know who, like kind of like
The
another,
Rock.
maybe The
I
Rock,
hope not.
or maybe like,
I hope not.
I know,
Oh my
but
God.
I feel like that might happen again. Maybe Kim Kardashian's president.
I think we may get an internet bill of rights when all the older.
I'd like you to get to work on drafting that, Billy.
I will do that for next class.
Yeah, can you please? That is your homework assignment.
That could be our nano dosing this week. Is Billy's internet bill of rights?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Billy, draft up an internet bill of rights,
Perfect.
and we'll discuss on Thursday's episode.
Yeah.
I think
Go quick.
I think we're gonna get another Bush. I don't think we're done with the Bushes.
Do you think it's gonna be
Jeb?
Jeb?
No.
Jenna Bush?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Point.
Jeb, please clap. No. Jeb's ship sailed when Donald Trump basically called him a little bitch on stage, and then the next debate, Jeb was like, "Will you please not stop calling me a little bitch?"
Jeb,
And then Donald Trump was like, "All right, your mom thinks that you're a bitch," and then they just kind of shook hands.
Jeb Bush
Come on,
went
bro.
on,
I missed this. Please send me this clip, dog. Oh my God.
I'm generalizing a little bit, but it
Jeb was
was.
getting flambéed.
Wait,
He was
It
the
tough.
first one that Trump went after
He
in the
went-
last. Well, no, first he said like Rand Paul is short. Look at this guy. What a joke in the very first debate. And then he turned his sights on Jeb because Jeb was the presumptive nominee at that point.
Which Bush was in the trailer with Trump when he did the grabber? What was that?
Oh,
That
that's
was
Billy
Billy Bush. Billy Bush.
Are they all? Is
yes,
Billy Bush
sneaky,
related?
he's a Bush.
He's a Bush, yeah.
How is he? What's his relation?
I think he's like one of the.
He's like a cousin.
yeah, well,
twice
he's
removed.
a cousin.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not in the line of succession to become president. I think that's going to be what's his name? George? Is it Prescott Bush? George P. Bush. Yeah, George Prescott Bush.
No.
P. Bush.
He's the youngest one. He was born in 1976.
he's W's cousin.
He's W's cousin. He is he's the eldest child of Jeb. So everyone
Who,
around
Billy Bush?
no George P. Bush.
I was
yeah.
talking about Billy. Billy Bush is W and Jeb's cousin.
No, George P. Bush. He's the guy that I'm predicting is going to be president within.
We're going with
within
is,
the
he a,
Jeb.
po-
years.
is he a politician?
His steed, Coley? Yeah, his
Seed.
His-
Is it seed?
yes, his seed. So everyone around Jeb is going to end up being president except for Jeb.
Is
guy,
is
he-
George P. a politician as of right now?
He is a politician. He's a lawyer. He's checking off all the boxes right now. So he is currently the Texas General Land Office Commissioner,
Huh.
where he's been since 2015,
He's 45.
which is a pretty big deal in Texas. There are two really big state office positions that you can get. One is the land commissioner, like he is, and then the other is the railway commissioner,
Really?
which doesn't sound like a big job,
No.
but the railway commissioner is in charge of all the oil
Oh,
in
got
Texas.
it.
So he's in
So
charge
big
of
deal.
he's in charge of like moving shit in and out of Texas.
I like the look of this guy.
I mean, he looks like a president.
If
His-
y'all go to georgepbush.com, his homepage has a video like running at the top. He just looks like he's got a presidential just feel to him.
He does.
yeah, he's half Bush,
Is he?
half on the Bush side. He's got Jeb as his dad, and then his mom is a Mexican American
I
woman.
was gonna say
Oh yeah.
he doesn't look full, but like
He's not full Bush.
yeah.
Oh, Bush.
I would like another I would like an Obama aged president again. Like I don't care what you think about Obama, but I want someone to be that age again. I'm kind of over the 99-year-old presidents.
I was just gonna say though on Jeb Bush, he went on an SEC tour my freshman year of college, and it was the Tennessee Georgia game, and he came and gave a speech, and my friends and I went, and he only spoke for 10 minutes, and I was looking around. There were 30 people there, and all of them, it was like the Tennessee Young Republicans Club, and then us. And I was like, man, if this guy, after listening to him speak, I was like, if this is our dude, we are so fucked. Like he was the most uninspiring, like just you'd ever seen. It did not instill confidence.
Jeb is a hard name to get past.
He's
too.
probably this guy is probably one of the only Bushes to actually born in Texas.
Yep. It's going to be George P. Bush against Chelsea Clinton in
Oh,
in
man.
2028.
Chalk
and-
that one up as a W.
Yeah.
Or P.
Yeah. Oh, good one, Billy.
I need to see any Bush running for office. I need to see their first pitch before I have any other comments on him.
It's-
If he's
Can't
not
play baseball.
if he's
it's-
not 92 on the black, I'm out. I'm out on that Bush.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough act to follow.
Listen, the bar's been set. It went from throwing up on foreign dignitaries to first pitches that united America. So
Given the circumstances, arguably the most impressive and important throw of a baseball of all time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If he had bounced that in the dirt, or if he had like 50 cented that, like I think there would have been riots in the streets. I agree.
And
with
he was
you.
wearing
I
a
don't-
bulletproof vest, Yankee Stadium, World Series right down the middle with
You're
some
muted,
zip on
Arian.
it.
That was pretty hype.
You're muted, Arian. It's George W. Bush. It was the first baseball game at post 9/11, right?
No. It was the World Series because the Yankees went to the
World Series. That's right. World Series. 01, Yankee Stadium. George Bush just he stepped on the mound too, right?
Oh,
like he went to the rubber.
He talked about Jeter came up to him in the tunnel and was like, "You're going to throw from the base of the mound or the rubber." He's like, I was thinking base of the mound. He goes, "You can't do that." And he was like, "Okay."
Listen, Jeter wasn't always wrong. Even as a Red Sox fan, I can tip my cap where it needs to be tipped. That was wildly. Again, he bounces that in the dirt. We lose that war, which we may have lost anyways. But
It would have insured it from the beginning.
Yeah, we lose it much sooner. Yeah, it's a good pitch.
Nice pitch, right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
With a little bit of zip on it.
Yeah.
For an old man.
You're gassing it a little bit.
It was probably, I don't know, it was probably
good pitch.
what,
Good
55
pitch.
miles an hour. He was in his 60s.
It showed.
Yeah. War criminal had a great pitch. I'm giving him his credit. Giving him his credit.
I mean, listen, another war criminal we know he's got a terrible jump shot. Didn't instill a lot of confidence in me.
1000%. 1000%. So pivot to my prediction. All right, it ain't my prediction. I'm piggybacking. I'm Winston Churchill in it right now. There's going to be a super bacterial that causes a frenzy that is resistant to antibiotics in the next 10 years.
So like a COVID.
So like the
junior?
chlamydia from Charleston.
And I don't know if it's going to be an STD.
In Charleston, I think
it's going to develop in Pete Davidson, and it's going to spread worldwide in the blink of an eye.
Yeah,
I hope that.
So you're talking about like a MRSA or a staph infection type thing.
So the issue is, and they've been predicting this for a while now, but we pop antibiotics for everything, right? And it does cure a lot of things, but the issue is that how evolution works is it's getting resistant, right? And so there's going to be something that comes along that's resistant to the antibiotics that we have, and so that's why I always warn people and doctors not to just give it out like that, because it's just not a cure-all. And so they're predicting in the next 10, 15 years that there's going to be like a super bug.
Yeah, because you know why they tell you make sure if you get antibiotics to finish all the antibiotics is because if you don't finish your entire dose that they give you, the bacteria or whatever remains in your body that was supposed to be killed, there will be a little bit that's left behind, and the stuff that's left behind will be able to learn from the antibiotics that you were using, and it'll become resistant to those. Because next time you try to kill it with that, it's like, no, I fought this battle before. I know what you're trying to do to me. They'll be able to overcome that medicine. And so then they can spread throughout the population with the knowledge of how to overcome whatever antibiotic it is. So I remember getting prescribed some stuff when I was younger, when I had just like strep throat or something like that. And I definitely did not finish my antibiotics because I didn't realize what the significance of it was. So public service announcement, if you get antibiotics, finish the entire prescription. Actually do, like, even though you feel fine, everything clears up, keep going on it for yourself in the long run.
And don't drink on them.
And also, don't use them unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I try to not use antibiotics unless I like am on my deathbed.
Yeah, because that's what's gonna come of the superbug. It's because of that reason. People just pop them for the littlest shit, like a cold and shit.
But I do love Z-Packs.
What's a Z-Pack? I mean, I know what it is, but how do you like what format does it come in? I know it's just one pill.
No, it's I think you take it's a 5-day antibiotic and you take it twice a day. So it's like 10 pills. But it's 5 days instead of a usual like 10.
It's got a great name.
Z-Pack. Oh my god, it's like the best marketing ever. It's shorter than a normal set of antibiotics, so people do finish them. Name's Z-Pack, and they literally cure. I mean, again, this is the whole point of antibiotics, but God, they work well.
The worst like sickness I ever got was strep C. and that was the only thing I've ever taken antibiotics for.
What's the C
Turns
version
out
of
there's
it?
strep A, strep B, and strep C.
So
And
it's like
the
hepatitis?
And the rapid tests is usually for like the fast strep test is for strep A and strep B. So I got this, like I was dying.
When
like,
was this?
freshman year of college.
Mm.
Literally was like losing weight, like just laying in bed all day. It was right before finals. And then I kept going to the infirmary, and they're like, yeah, you don't have strep. And I'm like, my throat is like closing up. It's terrible. Got tested for mono, wasn't mono. And then like a week later, after I was like suffering like chills, they came back and said, you have strep C. We just didn't show up on the first strep test.
It's like this, like what you said earlier. It's like we're really bad at treating people when they first get sick.
Yeah. There's a shitload of get just in this country because a lot of people don't have general practitioners. I don't have one.
Mm-mm.
If I get sick, it's like, well, I'm going to try to get better on my own. And then if it gets fucked up, I'll go to the ER.
You know what you got to have is what I've learned recently. You got to have like a family friend who's a doctor who you can just call and they'll just call you in stuff. And you don't have to go in. You don't have to do anything. You can just text them and be like, hey, I think
befriend a random doctor.
No, like you just gotta hope that like one of your parents like had a like random friend from college that became a doctor that they still kept in touch with, and you can just be like, hey, Mark from 1996, like, can you call me in a Z-Pack? I do that all the time. Hey, can you call me in like a, one of those like the Tessalon cough pearls? Like I really need it. And then they just do it and you don't have to do anything.
Or just move to a small community like Coley, move to Maine, and then you have like a local doctor. That knows, a town doctor.
The doctor.
Town doctors, man. That's you're pretty much a warlord at that point of that town.
You're have a monopoly.
Yeah. Is there a situation where a second doctor moves to town? It's a big showdown between the two of them.
Well, and if you're in a town like Coley's that I'm assuming is like, pretty small, like I bet you don't run through, like you're a private practice, so you don't have salary caps. So you're just making as much money as possible.
There's salary caps in medicine?
Yeah. So if at least like Cleveland Clinic, you can only make like a certain amount of money. So like you can only make, I don't know what the number is, $500,000 a year. And then after that, like you can't just keep like raking in coin.
Huh. I have no idea how medicine works on that end of it.
I think that's it. Someone might tell me I'm completely wrong, and I might be. But I remember because Cleveland Clinic's such a big employer, like you can only make so much money at a certain position.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard that before.
I guess that kind of makes sense. Like salary levels in a lot of big organizations, they have their salaries published so everyone knows exactly what they would make if they get the next promotion.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, and if it's like you can't just like harbor patience and be like, well, I want more so I can make more.
All right. Anybody else have predictions for the next 10 years?
I think robots are going to do something crazy. I'm not sure what, but I think they're going to like become way more of an issue.
You see the robot in the marching band?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
I don't.
Who's clamoring for robot dogs?
Don't be anti-robot.
I'm anti-robot.
I'm anti-robot dog.
You're carbonist.
I'm anti-robot dog. I prefer
like carbon beings.
I like my dogs to be cute and alive.
I don't get why.
Sorry, Arian. I know that probably triggers you.
I don't get
I
why
don't like either one of them motherfuckers.
We're like Planet of the Apes. Like I feel like we're making the robots smarter than we are for no, like keep that away. Keep them dumber than us so they can't revolt.
And just put us on the metaverse, plug us in, matrix us.
Sure. I just don't want to be taken over by robots. Like, I don't like that idea.
I saw Interstellar recently, and I love the vibes from the robots in that.
Yeah.
Like, still knew that they were not humans.
You know what's that one movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, and they're on, it's like kind of like Interstellar, and they're on the
Passenger.
Remember the robot in that movie where he was like so human? I liked that.
Yeah, that was fire.
I liked that where you can't, like he couldn't do anything, like he didn't have any legs or anything, so he couldn't like go off of his track, but he could talk to you like we're two humans. I like that idea where they can't get up and.
Nah, I want a sentient robot to tell us what the best move is, dog. That's what I want.
No,
oh yeah. I'm over it. Humans are stupid. We're dumb as hell. This is
what happens when the robot thinks that it's human.
I don't think he would think that, or else he wouldn't be smart.
I also don't get how, like, people always talk about like robots and how they're going to become smarter than us. I don't get how that process works. unless like the human that's like programming the robot.
It would have to be sentient, right? And we don't know what consciousness is, and we don't know how consciousness works. We don't even know why we have it. But if in theory it does happen, it will be exponentially smarter than us.
Right. So you're saying
not even close.
It can't happen yet because we don't know how to make it so it has a conscience.
It would be able to learn exponentially.
And they don't do that. And they can't do that right now.
Yeah, then
they learn according to the program that it's written. So, but if it was sentient, it could learn at whatever rate it wanted to, which, you know, when you start talking about like quantum computing, like this thing, that's like some Borg type shit where you fuck around and really enter warp, like deep, what is that? Warp speed, where you can like travel faster than the speed of light. Like they could probably figure that shit out.
I wouldn't mind if they became like you know those Amazon Go places where there's no workers, you can just walk in and out and like it scans the items for you as you walk out. I wouldn't mind that becoming all the grocery stores. And you just kind of have like robots walking around.
No one has any jobs.
That's not all the jobs in the entire world.
It's inevitable, dog. It's inevitable, dog. It's inevitable.
Yeah, I think some jobs or some lines of work in the next 10 years will be converted to like technology.
Can't automate podcasting.
No, we're safe.
See that?
There's no robot that would ever be this dumb.
You can't tell me about what I talk about.
That's right, Billy. You're pretty much unreplicable.
Yeah.
Robots can't make mammoth NFTs. Actually, they probably could.
No, fuck them.
They probably could. How's your NFTs doing, bro?
Should I drop some more?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, I'll drop.
I just asked how they was doing. Hold on, my G. I'm just asking how they doing. You over here? I wasn't asking.
Well,
you
I haven't
drop one.
The one I dropped did pretty well, and I did some part of my take NFTs that did very well. And
how much are we talking about? What does it do?
They did very well.
How much did the NFTs sell for part of my take?
All in all,
yeah,
close to 60K, which I see nothing of.
How don't you see any money from it?
No, I'm making revenue for the company, like if I created merch or something.
Billy did this.
Billy's going to bring this up in his contract negotiations.
As he should.
Time out. Hold on. You dropped the NFT and it went to Barstool?
It was an NFT
Barstool content
it was an NFT of some things that Big Cat and I did a few years ago.
That, man. Y'all robbed
Billy
that,
was
man.
like distributing it.
Y'all robbed that, man.
They weren't gonna do it, so I was like,
y'all robbed that man, bro. Get that man his money.
To be fair, it was Billy's idea from the start to not get any money from it.
Yeah,
and you robbed yourself.
Kind of. But he, again, like Big T said, he brings us up in salary negotiations. He gets paid more money. It was Billy proving he could do a project.
I still got to do that, and I'm trying to NFT the courtroom sketch from Macrodosing.
I would really like if you have NFT to that.
Yeah,
I might put a bid in on that.
Yeah. So how does it work? This digital playground where y'all are buying digital artwork. So is it like an auction and people auction for it?
So Von Miller tried to buy one of ours, but he got beat out somehow in the auction. It was an OpenSea problem. So
people auction and they pay. I'm assuming there's a third party, distributor.
There is,
and what's that
on the program? OpenSea. So OpenSea
is that the only one, or is there many of them? Like
there are, but OpenSea.io is one of the easiest ones, just operationally.
Got you.
But the people who bought these NFTs aren't necessarily fans of the show. They're NFT connoisseurs who see that there's value in these things, and they might, like, for example, our NFTs popped up in like a Discord where, just unrelated to any sort of promotion that we did, and said, hey, look, there's these NFTs being sold for this podcast that has a cult following, and it would be a great and then people are looking at that, then they do their own research. Like, it's how people who invest in a certain company might not be into what the company does, but they see that it has promise. So really, we're just selling to people.
So it's like paintings. It's like artwork. Yeah. There's a niche market for it, and you cater to that. I think the only real world, like I think that's what it is, right? So like I have this painting of Tupac, right? It's like mesh painting of Tupac, right? Of somebody who's I paid $4,000 for it, right? Because that was the artist what he was demanding for it. If somebody who has no idea who Tupac is, that has zero value to them, but it has value to me, right? And that's the idea of NFTs. I'm still wrapping my mind around this shit. So that's the idea of it. It's just like there's a niche market for it, and people. I think the only real world application for it would be like a Ready Player One thing in the future. Have you seen Ready Player One?
I have not.
I just checked in on the NFTs. One of the NFTs is selling for $250,000 right now.
What?
That part of my take one?
Yeah.
What?
Shut up, Billy.
There's someone selling it for that right now.
Oh, so it's not yours anymore?
No, but we get a cut on every time it's exchanged.
One of the ones that got bought from you is now being flipped.
Yes.
How much did it originally sell for?
3.69 ETH. Which
This shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, but you should watch Ready Player One PFT. You'll like that shit. So it's like he creates this world where it's all like you seen Oculus, like the Oculus things.
Yep.
So it's like a digital world, and like this is like this platform where you could run it around on, but you're stagnant in the real world. But like in this digital world, there's like you can do anything, go anywhere, meet people. You have coins, there's currency in there. You buy things, gear, all of this stuff, and so it's like that makes sense in my opinion. But it's a really dope ass movie. You'll like it. Ready Player One.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that. All right. Well, I think that about does it for the future.
A lot of future. Kind of got my brain in a pretzel.
It does. Yeah. Future's crazy.
Yeah, so the listings has been so someone listed the Piss Dogs one for $55K.
Are people bidding on it?
They bid on it at one point and now they're relisting it.
So there's people that aren't even Barstool fans buying Barstool NFTs.
Right. Exactly.
So I guess it would be
Yeah.
it's a lot of speculation. So
Yeah.
if somebody were to say, I don't know who Tupac is, but I know that he has a lot of fans. So somebody's going to want to buy this. So I'm going to buy it first. And then I'm going to wait for a while. And as more and more Tupac fans start to get into the market for buying paintings of Tupac, then I can sell it and make a lot of money off those people.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I know a dude. So an example is like I know a dude who the furthest thing from a Republican, but he bought these like gold-plated Trump 45 guns, and he just bought a bunch of it. He's like, I know, like later on in the road, like some crazy Trump person going to want to buy these, and so he bought a bunch of them.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So when we all get, by the way, the metaverse we're kind of getting pushed into the metaverse by just,
I still don't get what the metaverse is.
Just like, for example, we're going to get
Is it Facebook?
We put on our Oculus 2.0s.
I still haven't worn one.
And we fuck around in some mythical worlds. And, all the digital property that we buy right now, be it NFTs, is going to have more value because more people are in the metaverse.
That's
Ready Player One. Billy, have you not seen Ready Player One?
No, but I get the premise.
It's exhausting.
You are describing Ready Player One. Just watch Ready Player One and then report back. And you'll enjoy the movie too. It's a good movie.
Like, for example, our workspaces might be us plugging into an Oculus in some place in our house and just like interacting people in an office virtually, but the office doesn't exist and more people have housing opportunities because we have less office space.
I promise you just have to watch Ready Player One. You're literally describing it.
All right. I've done enough thinking about the future right now.
Oh my God. I feel like I just ran a marathon.
Yeah. Do we have any voicemails?
We do. Do you want to listen to them?
Yes.
Take your mind off of them?
I would love to.
I'm hungry.
I am too. I started a new New Year's diet and I'm so hungry.
My new New Year's diet is to eat more calories because
I'm starting mine tomorrow. The last 2 days I've fucked it off, so I'm starting mine tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm also
today. I'm ordering Torchy's tacos today.
I'm also trying to do dry January for the first time.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's
I've cut all my vices.
What else? What other vices do you have? Frogs? No,
Yeah. What vices do you have, Billy? That's interesting.
No, I'm just trying to totally cut all vices.
Billy drinks a lot of Coors Light.
Is that what it is? Is your vice alcohol?
I mean, you're a 22-year-old guy.
Yeah.
That's okay. But
it's gotten in the.
It's my vice too. I think I finished the bottle of Crown last night.
I was starting to sort of realizing that I could be like my mental acuity. I didn't pronounce that right. Could be sharpened, and I'm just having more energy if I just like didn't drink on the weekends. See how it goes.
Ready to get into voicemails?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hi, this is Drake. I'm calling in from the Pacific Northwest, and I just had a question for you guys as we're approaching the new year. Typically, a lot of people like to adopt new outlooks or new hobbies, and I was just wondering, what was a long-standing belief or outlook that you guys had that you have since changed your stance on? And if there are none that really come to mind, which outlook do you find yourself questioning most? Boys, stay handsome. Maddie, stay beautiful. Arian, you stay gorgeous. I look forward to your replies, and have a great day.
Okay, real quick, why did he say Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, he wasn't really specific with it.
He's definitely Canadian. He's probably from Vancouver.
No, people up there love saying that shit. It's like how people from Dallas, they say North Texas. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
That people, there's a couple that they love doing shit like that. Everybody, you see how they love saying Pacific Northwest and PNW and weird shit like that because they're weird people.
Why? Hold on. What is wrong with saying Pacific Northwest?
It's just weird. It's like another step we don't need to go through. Just say where you're from.
No offense, Drake.
It's a general area though.
Drake is not from the Pacific Northwest.
He's just said his name's Drake.
Oh, I thought you meant like Drake the rapper.
No, I was thinking his name's Drake, and I was like, is he from Canada? And then he said Pacific Northwest. I was like,
maybe
Vancouver.
No, it's like the Washington, Oregon area. That's Pacific Northwest.
Is Vancouver still?
Yeah, I think so. I think this guy's from
Tacoma. Yeah, it's on the Pacific Ocean.
I think he's from Tacoma because he wouldn't say, if you're in Tacoma, you would not say I'm from Seattle. But also, it sounds cooler to say.
And if you were from like Portland, you would say you were from Portland.
Yeah, I get Tacoma vibes from Drake.
Is Alaska the Northwest?
I wouldn't consider them
like. Would they like?
Not Pacific Northwest.
Well, this is like our Midwest debate, but they probably have it with themselves.
Alaska's just Alaska.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be in a region. They're just Alaska.
Is that anyway?
Yeah, but he asked a good question.
That is, I really liked that question.
That is a great question.
What's something that you've changed your outlook on?
I'll start. I grew up my entire life thinking that or believing that there was a God, and through many years of living and experiencing things, I no longer believe that.
Yeah, I figured that was like something around what you were gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Billy, what have you changed? You don't eat meat anymore.
No, I used to really hype up like achieving stuff and thinking that would like be the end all be all. Like, college, like, getting certain accolades and stuff. And I was like, if I do this, that will really make me happy. And then I had an earth-shattering experience when like achieving one of those things wasn't everything I thought it was, and it sort of really shattered my opinion on things. But
it's the journey now.
It's the journey,
not the destination.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
There is no there.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that.
Big T.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. You go.
I used to hate Brussels sprouts.
Ooh, I love Brussels sprouts.
Now I like them, but it's just because Brussels sprouts used to be cooked like shit back in the day.
That's true. You got them school Brussels sprouts was ass. But dog, you put them shits in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh my!
You just gotta burn the shit out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cut them in half, crisp them up.
Burn it, just like the nice crisp outside layer. Oh yeah.
That's another thing I had my first experience with over Christmas break was an air fryer. I think I'm in the market for that.
Bro,
bro. This it'll change your life. It'll change your life.
It'll change your life. This is actually real. No, I read this. So the reason why Brussels sprouts taste better now is because they GMO'd them.
Oh.
From color
everything is
dud
GMO
to stud. Yeah, no, but they took away all the bad tasting Brussels sprouts. How Dutch plant breeders built our Brussels sprouts boom. Foods going out of style. A few of them has gone as dramatic as Brussels sprouts. So for many years they were scorned. Blah blah blah. There was a Brussels sprouts festival in Santa Cruz, California, where they basically got rid of the bitter Brussels sprouts and got like the ones we eat today that taste better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I'm skeptical of that claim.
I'll send you guys the article.
I think it also does have a lot to do with how you cook them, because back in the day, it was like basically just boil Brussels sprouts and then put them on a table.
And like throw some salt on them.
Yeah, maybe if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Now it's
As if you're lucky.
yeah.
I have a really good Brussels sprouts recipe that I think is really great.
I think I've the serious answer would be I've realized that I'm not motivated by money over the years. And I used to think that I was, especially when my job used to be, in sales, which was highly revolving around money. And a lot of people, they get their self-worth from how much money they make. That's how they value what they're doing. That's how they value their life is, okay, I had a good year this year. Well, how can you tell you had a good year? Well, I made more money than I ever have in the past. And it's very dangerous to tie yourself into that, because money's not always going to be there for anybody, regardless of who you are. It's going to ebb and flow. You're going to have lean years. You're going to have good years. If you tie yourself into that, then I think you can be in for a world of hurt. And I guess to a certain extent too, I've realized definitely over the last 5 years or so, people say like, don't read the comments. That's very, very good advice, because if you're in a public facing job like we are, there are going to be people that love you, which is great. And we certainly appreciate everybody that does. But if you build your own self-worth around what other people are saying to you, the second that people start to turn on you a little bit, it can be like life-shattering. And then your ego is so built into what these strangers are saying about you. Then when they start to say something bad, it also affects you the same way, just in a completely opposite direction. And so it's, not reading, the old saying, don't read your press clippings and take those too seriously. I think that's a very, very good piece of advice, especially for anybody that's thinking about getting into a job like this one, where people will be, thousands and thousands of people will have an opinion on what you're saying or doing one way or the other. It's dangerous to let yourself buy into what everybody else is saying about you.
Yeah.
On a micro level as well, though, too, though, like, because if you're not dealing in a public job, that's great advice, by the way. Like people get beholden to the people that they love's opinions of them and what they're doing, like your mother, your brother, your sister, your family, like, and it becomes this, like, you always are trying to live your life to impress or to acquiesce to their demands or their likes or their wants or their needs. And that's just a lonely and depressing place, because you're never going to satisfy everybody. So do the shit you love to do. Fuck yeah, self-help 101.
Good advice.
Mine is 4 quarters over 100 pennies. It's better to have 4, like, quality over quantity, like, in terms of people. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to live by that one. Like, you'd rather have 4 quarters over 100 pennies. Like, what's the point if, like, kind of going off what you said, like, what's the point if, like, you have a ton of friends if, like, no one really knows you?
Mm-hmm. That's a Britney Spears song, too. Lucky. Listen to Lucky. She says it all.
Yeah. But especially now, like, I moved. Don't listen to Britney.
It's a good song.
I like Britney.
No, I'm sure it is. I don't got a problem with it. I'm sure.
No, but especially moving here, not knowing anyone, it's like you don't need to, like, make 8,000 friends. Just gotta have the good ones.
All right, good question, Drake.
Thank you, Drake. Hold
on. Big T didn't do it.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know what mine would be. Like,
you haven't evolved on anything?
I'm sure I have. The exact same since you were a child?
Like, I'm a very simplistic person in that I do very, I don't want to say I do few things. The things I enjoy, I do. Like when I find something, this pair of jeans.
Mugsies.
Yeah, if they're, sure.
Yeah.
I've bought this same pair of jeans for like 3 years. It's the only pair of jeans I will buy. I have a couple different colors, but I will only buy one pair of jeans. If I find something, I stick to it, and that's what. And I don't know in terms of like opinions. Like I was trying to think of like big picture stuff that I've.
You started drinking alcohol.
That's true.
A lot of alcohol.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Apples are red.
Yeah, I don't know.
You probably never thought that you would live in New York.
That's actually an interesting one. I used to think you're always told people in New York and in the Northeast are assholes. And I found that that's not necessarily true. People just have shit to do. Like for the most part, people here are pretty nice. it's just like nobody would choose to live here if you didn't have a reason to be here. Like people got shit to do.
Mhm.
So like they're in a hurry to get places.
Right.
But for the most part, I think most people in New York are like pretty nice that pay rent anyway.
Mhm.
I had another run-in. Listen to this shit. So last night, I went and got a smoothie. I'm walking home, and I don't know that he was homeless. I believe he was. Gets in my face this far from me to you, reaches into my hand and goes, "Give me some of that drink, man." And like grabbed my fucking thing. And I ripped it back. Like he got his hand on, he never really. And I was like, I just walked home mad. I was just pissed. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? This place is
Did you give him some
lawless.
drinks?
Fuck no.
What'd you do?
I just stewed for 20 minutes. I was just mad that people are allowed to do shit in this lawless wasteland.
Like, what'd you do in the moment?
He tried to grab it. I ripped my hand back and kept walking. I'm looking back. I was looking back at him like this was the craziest shit that happened to me in several weeks. He just kept walking like he's doing this to everybody that walks around with a cup.
Bro,
it was just
you can't let anyone that close to you.
It was just Sunday to him. I mean, this guy, he went right down the street probably to somebody else.
Sounds like you're just thirsty.
But most people in New York are fine. That guy sucks, and the crutch guy sucks.
What if that guy
And the
died
other one
because
before
Big
that.
T wouldn't let him have some of his delicious drink?
Good. It was delicious. I drank every bit of it. Anyway,
what was it? What drink was this?
It was a smoothie.
High demand, I guess.
I got a smoothie guy down the street. Great smoothies. I don't know the name of the place. He's just my smoothie guy.
Let me know. I'm always looking for smoothie guy.
It's near you.
Okay.
I'm getting Chick-fil-A.
I got Chick-fil-A for lunch.
Does that shit still make you? Does Chick-fil-A still make you like? Have anxiety.
I'm just saying, fuck it and powering through.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Billy's Chick-fil-A. His chicken anxiety.
His chicken anxiety.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's actually been weird. I've been looking up some stuff about it. Just my heart just randomly pounds.
You're addicted. You're ordering more right now.
Yeah, but I'm just hoping it might have something to do with the booze. That's why we're doing dry January.
No, that's true. Hangovers definitely give you a shitload of anxiety.
But just
no question.
When
No
you're
question.
like throughout the week with your heart.
Do you drink on the weekdays?
No.
Billy also just takes a lot of supplements, so there's a lot of things that go into Billy's.
Maybe it's the
a lot of
green tea.
potential suspects out there for who's causing this.
Chills me the fuck out. Zens me.
You need 3
Yeah.
No, sometimes my mind just tweaks out. It's weird.
Maybe you just have anxiety.
Have to like ground myself.
Have you had EK? Have you had an echocardiogram? Like, have you checked your heart?
No, I'm actually getting that checked like soon.
I'll bring it in so I can read it and interpret
it.
Facts.
I would love to take a crack at your EKG, Billy.
Actually, I think I might have it.
You got it? I'm gonna read Billy's EKG and see if I still got it. In the meantime, we got another voicemail.
Yep.
While Billy's pulling this up.
Hey guys, this is Gabby from Maryland, and my question is, if there was a simulator where you could go back to any point in history and change it and see how it affected the present, what point in history would you choose and why? I love the podcast, and you guys are doing great. Yeah, stay handsome and gorgeous.
So it wouldn't necessarily change it in real life, but you could see what it would be like.
Yeah.
She had a very seductive voice. That was really an odd listen.
Gabby, Arian
shout out to Gabby though. Nah, I was just saying. I mean, was I the only one? That was wild. Anyway, I got one. I forget. So there's a theory. Isn't a book called *Sapiens*? So there's a theory that well, I forget the names. What is our name? I forget our name. Yeah, we're a Homo sapien, and I think it was some other hominid. I forget that we actually went to war with them, and there was a genocide.
Oh,
right?
Neanderthals.
So I'm not sure if it might have been Neanderthals, but you might be right. So like there was like a war with them. And so like when our evolutionary branch branched off, there was a war with them and we actually killed them off. And so I would love to go back to that part to like stop it, because we might have two different subsets of like humans. That'd be fire. Like that'd be dope.
Well, they just discovered the Dragon Man in the Denisovians, which was another like separate. The Denisovians, Neanderthals, Homo sapiens were the three main it's actually, they basically they think Neanderthals were gingers, and that gingers have more Neanderthal DNA. So like the whole gingers have no souls actually comes from, we don't think they're as human as other humans.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny, but
Does it actually come from there?
but like that's the joke. Anyway, I read that. It's a weird juxtaposition, and there's a whole other.
I don't know enough about it, but I just know that they don't know if it happened for sure. But like that was one of the ongoing theories, is that there was like a mass, like there was this war between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, and we like wiped them out. Fire.
I would have let Hitler into the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts.
Smart.
I feel like that could have saved a bit of
consternation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we might not have nuclear weapons right now. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would have, like, if the Holocaust didn't happen?
No,
what would have?
Because we would have just gone to war with Russia sooner.
That's probably true. Also,
yeah, that's what Winston Churchill originally predicted, that the Western allies would go to war with Russia at some point. The Hitler thing probably was the only thing that stopped that from occurring first.
It would be good to see the simulation and find out, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would warn RG3 not to play in that playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks at FedEx Field and tear his knee up. That season, that 2012 season for me, that made me love football again. Watching him play, I was telling everybody that would listen to me, like, this is the quarterback for my team for the next 10 years. We're winning multiple Super Bowls. This guy's going to change how the sport's played. And that first year, he kind of did.
Oh, he was incredible.
And the sky was the limit. And it was such a great feeling. And just to see it taken away from me after, 5 months, that was bad. I was very down bad.
You know, it's crazy. I have no idea what happened to RG3. Because I was in the league at that time, so I didn't study. I wasn't a fan, so I was just like, I didn't really watch. Like, what happened to him? Why was he not good anymore?
It was like week 11 or week 12 in that year of 2012, his rookie season, where he was the rookie of the year. Haloti Ngata hit him on, he was like scrambling with the ball, and Ngata collided with his leg in midair, sprained his ACL pretty badly. Like, it was a significant sprain that he put on it. And then RG3 rushed himself back towards the end of the year, and he was clearly not himself, wasn't as quick, was playing like a little bit more hesitant, a little more cautious, because he wanted to prove that he was fine. He could get out there and play. And then in the playoff game at home against the Seahawks, also Russell Wilson's rookie year, FedEx Field's turf just turns to shit around November of every year. And this was as bad as it's ever been, where they were actually spray painting the field before the game because it was just sand. They were spray painting it to give the appearance that it was green. And then RG3 just tore his knee up on that field, just completely tore his ACL, tore his MCL, had surgery, was never the same after that. And so then obviously everything that happened from that point on, he's not as good a quarterback. We stick with him for the next season or so, and then he goes elsewhere, doesn't play well anywhere else. And now he's in the booth doing commentary, which he's occasionally pretty good at. But it looked like he was going to change the sport. And he kind of did. That season really did have a huge impact on the course of the next 10 years of the NFL, where they had never run a triple or a read option in the NFL. You never have a quarterback with all these designed runs. And now it's everywhere you look. There's at least some sort of read option package for almost every quarterback in the NFL. But yeah, he was so good. Run. Yeah, he was so good his rookie year. That first game against New Orleans, I was at that game, just blew my mind. The Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys, a lot of joy was brought to me by him his rookie year, and I wish that we would have gotten to see more of him playing as good as he could.
Speaking of that play, I developed a take also from the Music City Bowl. You watched that game. I saw you tweeting about it.
Uh-huh.
People were slipping and sliding all over the place on that dog shit field. and the Titans had to like replace the end zones before they played there on Sunday. There should be no more natural grass. Nobody should play on grass anymore.
Bad field. It was a very bad
nobody
field.
Every field should just be turf.
Yep.
But good.
That's
turf.
a horrible. Hell no. What?
You don't think so?
Yeah.
It's a horrible take, bro. Turf is horrible for your knees. Nobody.
And can give you
No.
cancer.
But I feel like all the field-related injuries I see are on natural grass when it's like in bad shape.
But there's bad
Bruh.
turf that gives people injuries.
Well, we
too.
have like the technology now to make exceptional.
That's
turf.
like there's so like it's a on so like when we practiced in what we called a bubble, right, which was inside, so we had field turf. Every lineman that was, in the latter part of their career fucking hated it. Like, and I did too, because it hurt. Like, it's bad on your joints, though. Like, shit is horrible. Like, nobody likes to play on that shit. Like, it's a way better alternative than that old asphalt turf, because that shit was just concrete with carpet. But it's just not good. It just hurts. So like everybody much rather prefers to play on grass.
I guess that there's two ways to look at it. One is on grass, especially if it's bad grass, there's more acute injuries that happen on that turf. But it sounds like on the synthetic stuff, it's like long term, it's going to wear your joints down. It's going to be one of those things that just like day in, day out, it's going to be more difficult on you, even though you might not see as many, catastrophic joint injuries that take place.
It's about upkeep too, because the field in Tennessee, that was one of the nicer fields actually in the NFL that I played on. That one, Arizona, holy shit, that is like gorgeous, playing on like cloud. That shit is gorgeous field.
Yeah, that's the one. That was the first one that they grew outdoors and wheeled indoors on game day.
Yeah,
I think Vegas does that too.
God, man, my first couple of years at Houston, dog, they had that they literally wheeled in like, I think it was like 2 by 2 feet of squares of grass, and it was just like patched in, and it was just the worst. Like there were holes, and it was the worst shit I've ever played on. It was horrible.
I have to go pee again really badly.
Go pee.
I'm gonna go do that.
That's the green tea.
And then we'll wrap it up. Is
I
it?
actually need to also.
Okay.
Pee break.
You want to do sword fight?
I also want
Big T?
I also would like to know what happens if Cleveland the Browns never got moved to Baltimore.
Yep.
See what the franchise could have been. That a weird
That'd have been fire.
lapse.
Are we pausing, or are we continuing without them?
We'll pause.
Mine
Does everyone
would
have to pee?
I just go kill all the bats in Wuhan.
That's fair.
Flamethrower.
Yeah. I don't think you have to like necessarily like do that. I think you can just be like, if this didn't happen, what would life be like? Yeah, I don't think you have to go like destroy the bat population of the Wuhan district in China. But yeah,
you don't know
that's fair.
how that would throw off the ecosystem, though.
I don't think bats are.
I
don't think bats are native to Wuhan. I think
Billy, look it up.
The whole thing was that they were being sold in a market to be eaten.
But why are you eating bats? I just don't get that. I feel like there's so many things you can eat that aren't that.
I mean, you eat pigs. That shit crazy too.
I guess. It's like one of those things where it's like you don't think it's crazy because you've just been like accustomed to it.
The weird thing about the beginning of COVID, I was like on the deep web back then.
Yeah, probably.
There was so many videos surfacing of like crazy stuff coming from China.
Like before COVID happened, or like while they were in
While
lockdown?
COVID, like there was that video circulating of which was apparently from a movie of like people in like I don't know. It could have been. It was definitely like misinformation that was being spread.
Well, I remember like right before COVID hit, when it had hit in China, but it hadn't hit the US yet, like, February, like late January. And I remember that there were signs taped all over my college campus of that doctor that like discovered COVID and he was killed. And they were like, all of the international students were like protesting it and being like, he's hiding things. And then
I remember that.
Yeah. And then I remember there was like a TikTok girl who was like, again, this was like right before COVID hit the United States. And she was American living in China and living in Wuhan. And she was like basically vlogging what life in lockdown was like. And she was like, day 42 of lockdown. I was like, oh my God, can you even imagine? And then like literally 3 weeks later.
But also those videos of like the people in masks just dropping dead.
Yeah, I don't know if that was
walking.
real though.
I know there were definitely just videos of people fainting from other reasons. They just had masks on.
Right,
But there's
like,
all these fake videos coming out of China of like dudes with machine guns walking around in
Right, but that's-
hazmat suits. Do you remember that?
I remember that there was one where a guy was going through a checkpoint and they scanned his temperature through the window and then they like pulled him out of the car and all these army guys took him away.
Yeah.
It was like,
But
well,
that was
this
a test.
was
That
it?
was their planned detainment for someone who tested who didn't want to get out of the car.
Hmm.
And then the other ones were all fake. It was just like, where did all these fake videos come from?
You don't. I mean, if you're but Billy, remember you're on the deep web.
Yeah.
You're not on like YouTube.
Yeah.
So like, there's weird shit down there.
Oh, we got another voicemail?
Yeah, you want to finish off with one more?
Let's do it.
My name is Sean. I'm from OKC. I want to know, what was the first conspiracy theory you bought into? Being from OKC, I was a kid when the bombing happened. I thought it was Islamists as well as natives maybe, and then just found out it was plain white people. Happy New Year. Happy January 6th, the Big T. And see you all next, or now, 2022.
Like, see, that's the kind of shit. I'm going to go on a rant right now. That's the kind of shit that's like actually fuck this guy. Like, I don't care that he listens to the show. Y'all might have to cut this. Like, that's so irresponsible and like disgusting. Honestly, like that's gross.
It's fun. It's funny.
Like that
It's
guy's
funny.
a piece of shit.
Big T,
Like,
you know
it's funny.
that he doesn't actually believe that you were at
Just-
the Capitol building.
he doesn't believe I was at the Capitol, but he believes I think that like that, or he said it. He said it on a thing that he knew he was sitting in that could be on a show that's listened to by a lot of people.
For the record,
No, that
Big
guy,
T
that guy fucking
disavows.
sucks. And like anybody that does that shit fucking sucks.
Big T. One thing that I used to be totally paranoid about was that like every single one of these podcasts and stuff that's on the internet and other people that say about me is somehow going to be like held accountable to me at some
Billy,
point.
it doesn't
You
matter.
still think that?
Like,
Kind of, but like
The whole frog fucking thing really messed with Billy's brain for a while. I was like, people are going to
thought-
actually think.
I was thinking
but we live in a world where like just attributing that, like it's just disgusting. That guy has never met me a day in his life, has never spoke. Like that guy fucking sucks. He sucks.
Do you see that Trump?
But you never met him either. So how do you know he sucks?
Because he called into a podcast of strangers and was like, "Oh, this is so funny."
It was.
That guy's a loser.
It was a joke, though.
It was a shitty joke.
was kinda
subjective.
No.
Subjective.
No, that guy fucking sucks.
Trump's
It
going to be
came
giving
out
a
of nowhere
speech.
too.
He's doing a speech on January 6th.
Is
Is
it
he?
going to be
No, he's
broadcast
not.
anywhere?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it will be.
There's no way he's doing it on
Uh,
January 6th.
Absolutely, he is. And I can't wait to watch it.
January 6th, part 2. Wait, that's in 3 days. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I will be tuning in.
I think he's getting away from because you know that everyone's gonna be doing like a memoriam on January 6th, and there's gonna be a large part of the media trying to make it like a huge sort of
It's
day that lives in infamy.
Socially irresponsible to have your speech on January 6th. Like it's very irresponsible. But that's Trump. So fuck it.
That's crazy.
What if he announces his rerun for the next election?
I mean,
that would be.
He probably will.
One thing that I think should be looked into is was there feds at January 6th trying to get people to go inside of the Capitol?
I think that there were, if you look at the course of any group of people, any political movement, there are federal agents that are in communication with certain people, whether they're undercover and they're put in and they try to get certain people to commit acts, like they entrap them sometimes. That definitely does happen. That's not crazy to say that. But I also have seen enough footage of what happened where there were a lot of people that were doing that intentionally without the help of any federal agent. There's actually there's one guy that they were saying he looked like a Fed. I think it was on Tucker Carlson. There was one guest that was saying, look at this guy. This guy's clearly a Fed. And it turns out that the guy he's like a St. Louis Cardinals diehard fan who's known far and wide. And he's absolutely not a Fed. And he was accusing other people of being Feds instigating this. But then on Tucker Carlson, they're like, this guy's the face. Like, no, that's me. I'm real. But trust me, there were others that were there. I think it's not. I guarantee there were definitely FBI agents that have been like infiltrating the Proud Boys who were there, and probably encouraging them to do things that they can get arrested for. That happens. It happens all the time in the course of U.S. history. Usually they target, like if you look at the 60s, they were targeting more so the left wing. But I think any extremist group, you can bet that the FBI is trying to get involved. They did it with a lot of mosques after 9/11. They would send FBI agents in there to infiltrate and to try to encourage them to plot, fundamentalist exercises and attacks. And they sent some people to jail based on essentially being entrapped into committing these crimes.
So that was actually the first conspiracy I believed in was 9/11. I thought that 9/11 was like this inside job. I believed the whole, what was that, Loose Change documentary?
Yeah.
I bought every single thing.
Yeah. I mean, the video was, I remember when I first watched it, you kind of wanted to believe what was going on because it made more sense to think that it was easier to understand that conspiracy than to look at it in a much, much bigger lens and see how everything that has been going on in the United States for the last, 150, 200 years has led to, a lot of blowback from different societies that we've been interacting in certain ways. And I'm not saying that like the U.S. deserved 9/11. That's not what I'm saying at all. But everything happens for a reason, and there probably wouldn't be as much Islamic terror directed at the United States if it wasn't for some of the things that we have done in the past too. So like everything's kind of connected in a way, and that's tough for somebody to understand in the moment. You just want like a simple, easy explanation so you can point your finger and say, "Oh, it's Bush. Okay, Bush did it all."
We should do an episode on that actually.
I agree.
I got roped into the whole YouTube algorithm. So really, I started like middle school, just like Bigfoot, Nessie, cryptozoology. Like, did this really happen? Like, was Atlantis real? Just like going down YouTube rabbit holes. Took me all sorts of places. Ended up in some conspiracy theory type stuff, because then it goes cryptozoology, reptilian people.
Yeah.
And that
David Icke.
Yeah. And then you're like, what? Like, is there a bunch of reptile people? Is George Bush like a reptile shapeshifter? And I'm like, whoa, like I never actually believed it at the time, but I was just like, fortunately, the internet being exposed to young kids at a young age, like it's totally fucked up the whole generation.
But was there anything that you believed in, like absolute, like, and then later on you're like, I don't know what to.
I'm trying to think of the exact, but I definitely thought that there might be Bigfoots out there. I want it to be true.
Yeah, you want it to be true.
Yeah.
I still want it to be true.
Oh, I did think that like dinosaurs might exist in elevated stone structure in the middle of Africa that resisted like Land Before Time type stuff.
I've never even heard of that one, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Congo River Basin, Makolo and Mbembe. There probably is one.
Oh, in like stuff like gigantic anacondas in the Amazon, just like stuff not discovered, like King Kong, giant gorillas being somewhere we can't find them.
Big T, there's a dinosaur?
Probably.
What?
Like alive?
At some point in the last 20 or 30 years, yeah.
No. They misproved that one. The thing is,
no.
when you see an elephant with its trunk up from far away, it looks like a plesiosaur.
Is that the plant?
I'm just telling you, there's some interesting anecdotal, albeit evidence that there might be a dinosaur in the Congo River Basin.
Well, it's an elephant with its trunk up.
We don't know that it's aquatic.
Well, if you look at an elephant moving through the water, if you look up elephants swimming.
I'm looking up Big T's one right now.
What they look like.
The most reasonable and agreed upon explanation is the Makola Mbembe is a legend based on the black rhino, a species once common in Central Africa, where the stories of the Makola Mbembe originated. The absence of this evidence, despite several centuries of Western contact with the region, numerous expeditions in search of the animal, and periodic aerial and satellite surveillance, all of which have detected elephants and large animals, but no sauropods, all argue against the existence. So they don't really, according to Wikipedia.
Nothing you found on Google is going to be true, so don't worry about it.
According to Wikipedia, it just says that the evidence proving that it doesn't exist is that we haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
You see how this could kind of look like a plesiosaur dinosaur?
No, it looks like an elephant.
But like from far away, if you saw the trunk sticking out of the water, it would look like the neck of a dinosaur.
Look like a tiny, tiny dinosaur.
But if you're looking at it from far away,
I want it on the record. I was joking. I don't want any dipshits fucking tweeting me. Oh, Big T thinks there's a fucking.
Like this kind of looks like.
Also, maybe cut what I said earlier, but I'm not answering that guy's question.
No, we're gonna keep that in.
Nah, I think I want it cut. I don't.
Here's a better example.
Because
looks like a dinosaur.
Everything I said was correct, but then that just gives people more like they're like, oh, see, you got offended. So I don't know.
You also like getting a rise out of people. So
Snowflake.
You like getting a rise out of people. So
I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's a difference between.
Okay.
It's the internet, dog. Motherfuckers gonna talk shit to you about.
There's a
whatever,
difference between talking shit and saying like.
Oh my God, Billy. Sorry.
I don't know. I think that was pretty.
But bro, like I think there are genuine. I think there are genuinely people out there who don't like you, Big T. There are genuinely people out there who don't like me. Yes, it is what it is. Just take it with a grain.
There are a lot of people.
Water off a duck's back, man. Don't even worry about it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't care what anyone who doesn't know me thinks of me. I just hate.
You just got mad, Big T. You just got mad.
No, yes, I did. I'm still mad because, like, that's such a disgusting thing to say about somebody that, like, I don't know. I'm not going to keep getting into it, but whatever.
But
maybe.
Big T, you
I'm
also like.
I'm saying for your health, for your mental health. It's better if you just let it go, because like it's gonna happen. You keep, especially if you keep podcasting, people out there, people are wild, bro.
One thing that
why did we pick that voicemail?
Because it was funny.
It was a good voicemail. It was a good question.
It really was a good question.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was, but it was not.
What
a
was
good
the
question.
first conspiracy theory you believed in?
Nessie. Mine's Nessie, actually. I remember the exact moment. I was like, there's got to be something down there.
I think mine was Nessie when I was like really little.
Well, that's the first one.
Right, yeah. My first one, I got really into cults and conspiracies at the same time. So Heaven's Gate I got really into, and then The Simpsons predicting everything.
High school, the Hillary Clinton stuff was run rampant.
Yeah, but I wasn't into that stuff.
Like the kill
list,
the kill count stuff.
Yeah,
because that was being broadcasted. Like I was definitely targeted by.
You were targeted, not me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, those are the things that I was getting targeted by.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, good episode.
Yeah, lots covered today.
Chick-fil-A arrived.
Looked into the future a little bit. I think we came out the other side. Billy's still hungry, so that's good. Growing boy. So we will see you on Thursday. Billy's going to do his internet Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Billy of Rights.
Yeah, they're perfect. Do you have it written down so you remember to do it?
Yeah. I actually have it off the top of my head.
Okay, save it.
Bill.
Save
I am only a Bill.
All right.
How many are there?
I have a general juxtaposition of how it's all going to work, but I need to actually write. I don't know how many there are to explain, but there's a general.
I like what Billy just did right there. He's like, I don't know the word for it, so I'm just going to use a big word.
What is it in juxtaposition with?
Well, like I have the main idea, but I haven't broken it down into bullet points.
The word you're looking for was outline.
Yeah,
he's got an outline.
A rough draft.
Yeah.
Just so you know, in the future, but juxtaposition is when you compare two things.
I know.
Side by side.
But like
the Internet Bill of Rights and the real Bill of Rights.
Exactly. Like I don't know if I'm gonna have 10.
Maybe 8.
It could just be 1. I think it's just 1.
No, I'm gonna need.
It's gotta be like at least 5.
Just one.
Yeah,
just one.
I mean,
good call, Mad Dog. At least 5.
The
Billy.
Bill of Rights is just like an outline of freedom.
No, the Bill of Rights is specifically 10
things.
The first 10 amendments to the
just
Constitution.
Freedom. You could just be like freedom.
No, you have to have between 5 and 15 by Thursday.
Tweet into others.
I'll just do 10.
Yeah, 10 sounds good.
I would say 10 is great.
All right, we'll see you on Thursday for Nano Dosing. Love you guys.